Okay, welcome back to another episode of RambleCast. Today I have a
So the
new special
RambleCast.
guest. Well, not new. He's been on here a couple times. Uh, Big Bruh Kang.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Today we're gonna be talking about the culture war. And
Ah, shit.
if you don't know about that, and yes, oh shit, we're gonna have to dig deep in that. If you don't know about that, best way, at least for my explanation, it's pretty much idiots saying the West is better, the East is better. You have a better explanation?
The best way I could describe it: two sides on the same coin who just want different shit, but just rather yell at one another and call each other bigots. That's about it.
You also missed the racial slurs a little bit.
Oh yeah, there's tons of racial slurs. Like one side's gonna say it more, but there's tons of racial slurs.
The other side says it, but they say it in a way they're trying to be friendly about it.
Like I said, they're subtle about it. The other side's just like nigga, 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 nigga. But no.
I mean, it might be the other side's not even subtle about it. Oh man, I don't know how to word it. I don't want to like. Boys, I'm not trying to be mean to white people, but the way to word it is that weird, like white people guilt thing.
Oh yeah, no, that's that's actually very funny, and I can't wait to touch on that subject when we get into that.
All right, and as we were talking about it beforehand, but he's we were talking about when it first started, and I thought it started in 2012, at least from when I first really was getting into the internet.
Hmm.
But who knows when it started?
It's just weird because it's like I said, I feel like it peaked somewhere between 2015 and 16, where it's just like because I didn't know about none of these channels. They were nowhere in my feed between like 2012 and onward up until like 2015 or 16. It was just like, okay, this is my nice feed. About a few years later, who are all these people and what is an SJW?
Yeah, I knew what SJW. I think around. I didn't actually. I take it back. I didn't know about it until 2014. That's when I first, I think, started getting on Tumblr more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's when I first experienced it. I'm like, oh, so that's what this is. Instead of be more specific about what a culture war is about the whole East West thing, it's more about not like which culture better in sense of like actual culture. It's more on which one makes better animation, which one has better video games, which one has better comics, pop culture stuff more than like actual culture stuff.
It's so weird because I because a lot of these arguments, I feel like they've been had for like a while, and it's like when they brought this stuff up when you go on like online and everything, it's way bigger than you think. Where it's like because this whole like weird East versus West thing, I feel like it's kind of that's an argument that I've known for a while. That's something I've known for a while, and I used to be on the side of like oh anime it goes hard and it still
I
does
think most of us
but
have
it's
been on that side.
exactly yeah because we just didn't really think about it like that and yet, even then, it was mostly when I was just going through my weeb phase, just watching nothing but anime. And I started getting back into like Western stuff around like the late 2010s and everything when we started just having some, I'm not gonna lie, some goated shit going on. But it was like after that I started to realize, huh, this is kind of stupid. It's like I just don't know how else to explain it. It's just really wild because it's like Japan this, like Japan this, anime does that, Japan does this better, all that stuff, and I'm just like, this is slowly turning into some weird stuff. I don't know how to describe it. And then I saw how they were talking about Japanese culture in general, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is fetishization.
Yeah, it is. Like a lot of it is like fetishization, but also fetishization from the other side of not understanding the culture and just thinking the culture is what this one YouTuber or Twitter person told you it was.
Exactly, and you know, like I said, I got my things and my personal taste on the whole stuff. It's like I'm not gonna say certain people are just like, bad for liking certain things that are just Japanese. It's cool. You could like that stuff, but it's
Yeah,
like I feel like you should also like acknowledge the culture as a whole because again, these are people. This is what they do.
yeah,
And it's like, a lot of times it's like it's sexy. It's like got culture. It's like a lot more. It's kind of like when I looked into like a lot of history and everything. I kind of looked into like some history on like the older eras of Japan and everything, where it's kind of no wonder they got a lot of like this stuff with like nudity or exposed skin, because I know for like at the time it was like nudity was not really so taboo for them and everything like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's just no big deal why they're just like totally fine with like showing skin and all that stuff, and like a lot of media, whether it's for kids or otherwise. Because I ain't gonna lie, you watch a lot of anime that you think is just for kids, and then it's just like, oh hey, there's casual nudity in there. Okay.
Yeah, I
Real
think the best way
weird.
to describe that is one of my friends thought anime was all kind of like Dragon Ball stuff like that, and then he watched
Mhm.
Berserk for the first time ever, and he's like, "Oh, this hit different."
No, yeah, that's true. It does, man. I love Berserk, both like the old school anime and the manga and the Golden Age movies, because those
Yeah.
those hit different. Not gonna lie, but yeah. So it's just
Actually,
really weird.
actually, we can go into that because that's one culture war that I think made me realize I should do this because
Oh
that happened
yeah.
months ago though, is
It,
when people started with two particular people I've seen do this, and I don't
mhm.
care. I don't care if people get mad if I say it. It was Goldfish CV, and then later,
Clownfish.
well, I don't care. I mean, who gives a fuck what you say? And then it's a Gundam later did it, and I'm
Ah
like,
yeah.
when they were like manga's better because look at Berserk, and I'm like, you guys are trying to make money off a dead man right now, and that's kind of fucked.
That's on some NFT type shit, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, especially Clownfish. He did it. I think it was the day after or the same night.
It was either a day after, or it's like literally just like a couple of days after the fact, because I remember when I first saw that. I saw that and I was just like, how do you still have a following after that? You literally capitalizing on on like a dead man's, work like that, and it's just like you're trying to just push this weird agenda and everything, like saying, "Oh, they work harder and everything else." And I'm just like, okay, yeah, you don't gotta put it like that or make a comparison, because hey, a guy fucking died. Like, bro,
Because I
that's
think
kind of messed up.
I can't remember if I sent that to you on one of your feeds or or you might have saw it before I did. Because I
I,
remember I
I
sent it out. I retweeted it and I sent it to like certain comments I saw.
Oh yeah, no, and it's like whether you send it to me or I just like came across it. I probably came across it beforehand, because this was just all over Twitter for a bit, and it just had people thinking, "How, Sway? Like, how you gonna like do this and think that this is just an okay thing to talk about, or just an okay thing to make a comparison on?" And like, I watched the video, and it's like, again, I understand where people are coming from and everything, but at the same time, this is not the way to do what you think you're doing
Oh, at least you watched
at
it
all.
because I'm just like I already could tell what was gonna happen. And I was like, no, this is wrong.
Oh no, no, it's still wrong. Like I said,
Oh no, yeah.
I understand where you're coming from, but it's terrible. It's a bad video, bro.
Well, then later on, It's a Gundam made another video. I stopped following him after a while because I started, I don't know, with I don't want to go into that, but he made another video. I
Hmm.
think it was 2 months ago or something. It was before I had like the hospital stuff, but it was I saw it and it was him with a picture of what's the name of the mangaka in like this.
Hmm.
If I'm correct to remember the thumbnail correctly, it was either Berserk itself or the picture of him in the sky, and it had the let me in air quotes controversial new Superman cover that everyone got butthurt. Like I shouldn't say everyone, but people for some reason got butthurt about, and he was like,
Hmm.
"Manga's killing comics," and I'm like, "Oh my fucking oh my god!
Okay.
What evidence do you actually have? Don't give me that whole well, they're more in the bookstores. I'm like, you can buy comics online, right? Like I don't care if the
They
bookstore
don't.
doesn't have it. I can just order it off of Amazon or something. But
And that's the thing, right? Because and here's the thing, maybe it's just my general area or like the places I've been, because like I know everybody's always saying like, oh, manga is outselling comics and all that stuff. I go to a comic book store, they still got like a lot of Western comics, Marvel, DC, a bunch of indie shit. I'm like, and the manga's just, and the manga, it's got like a wall of like manga, but that's just about it compared to like the rest of the store, and that's really it. The most they sell manga would be maybe at like a, I don't know, maybe like at a DVD store or something like that, if they even have that. So,
yeah, and I think people don't take into account what area you live in, but also
mhm.
if a comic shop itself is selling them. Because in all honesty, yeah, if you go to a bookstore or something, you could probably get it. But who knows? But I'm not sure how the comic shop market works. So who knows if like manga doesn't sell well in like a lot of comic shops, especially depending on the
And
area you're in and how and if the distribution is different because it probably is different.
mhm. Oh yeah, yeah. No, I agree because like, and it's also the fact that it's like first off, anytime people always say it's like that they are like outselling like manga. I mean, sorry, outselling comics and all that stuff. The thing that I always come across personally is that anytime I actually look at the statistics and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it's not it's not as deep as a lot of people are making it out to be. Like, yeah, there are problems, but I assure you, manga is doing not as good as a lot of people are making it out to be. It also doesn't help that a lot of the mangas that we try to read and all that stuff, that shit is not available here. Like we cannot get physical copies of a lot of these stories and mangas and everything because it's like fuck the license, I guess. So it's like we just got to go online in those certain sites. So it's
Yeah.
like anytime people like say, "Oh, I buy manga," and I'm just like, "Y'all pay for manga?" Just that's just me though. So I don't really know. It's like I want to get my hands on like a copy and support the artist, but I can't do that shit because I can't get a physical copy at all.
Yeah,
It's not
sometimes it's
here, bro.
hard, especially when you try buying the first volume. Oh, forget that. You might as well just order it out online because the bookstore is gonna be hard to find it.
Exactly.
At least in my area, because every bookstore I've ever been in my area and the state right beside it, I'm like, oh, let me get the first volume of this new manga. Don't find it, and even sometimes on Amazon, they'll either selling it for a higher price or they don't have the copy.
Exactly. And it's like some places just straight up will only have like because like, way back when it's like you could only get like certain manga and everything like that. And you'll just be lucky if you could like get the rest of it if it's popular enough. Like I was reading this series called The Worst about like a bunch of like, boys and everything, just like getting into street fights and everything. It's kind of like Tokyo Revengers, but just kind of like more ugly dudes. But anyways, like
Hmm.
literally they had like 3 volumes of that and they never made more because they sold so poorly. So it's like it's not going to be translated ever again, and there's no way of getting it because nobody cares about this series. So it's like if nobody cares about your manga series, then that's about it. It's not coming back here.
Also, my thing is a lot of people. The reason why I don't like the whole manga thing, like manga comic debate, is I like both. But a lot of people. But the
Hmm.
one thing I don't like is how they do say this stuff. But the thing is, I tell them. I've said this before. Give me a manga that's not main. That's not on. It has a popular anime. Because you know why One Piece is like the highest rating thing, beating Marvel and DC, because it has an
Yep.
anime, and recent things have happened that really hyped it up. That's why sales increased. My Hero has beaten it, because it has a popular
Yep.
anime. Oh, you're trying to tell me comics are dying because Demon Slayer beat it? Oh, that's because Demon Slayer has an anime. Like, give
And
me a
that's it.
manga that beats all the comic industries that doesn't have an anime, and a lot of people don't talk about. At least on Twitter
Yeah.
wise, it's probably popular in Japan, but unless I see people on here saying talking about it, I don't see it.
No, yeah, that's true, and it also like pretty much just this is something we all just gotta accept as a fact. You ever wonder why your favorite anime doesn't come back for after like 12 or 24 episodes if you're lucky? That's because your anime is literally just a big ass commercial or promo for the manga. I am sorry, that's just literally how it is, you know.
Yeah, sometimes
So
it might be like at times the anime can be good, but at other times, oh, not so much. But
exactly, it's like that's what they got proposed so you could like pick up the manga, and it's like you'll be lucky if you could find that shit, you know.
I mean,
If it's popular
believe
enough.
me, if you probably live in the home country, you could probably find it very easily. You live in the states, you hope you find it
Mm.
online because some depending on where you live and if your store actually cares about refilling them, you're not. It's gonna be hard.
Oh no, that's a huge fact because like even even now it's like it's very specific because like I just realized from watching one of my other YouTubers, this the manly anime hero and everything, where it's like some anime is literally just popular in other countries and not even here. So it's like if you like something niche like Lupin or Fist of the North Star, we're just now getting like a Fist of the North Star resurgence here. I just bought like one of the volume mangas and everything, the new ones. So it's like yeah, we might not even get this stuff again, if at all. So just get while you can, fam.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Also, I never liked the whole verses of the between the two. because I'm pretty sure you've seen me say it before, but I'm gonna say it live now.
Go ahead.
I don't like it when people say comics are dying and stuff like that, and they're never gonna be popular again or something like that,
Yeah.
because of the fact that's what people used to say about manga. Like
Damn.
people used to make like I've known people who used to make fun of manga, and now
People
manga
just
is
make fun of
popular
anime.
now,
Yeah.
and it's like, don't you? I mean, I would think these people would think it's hypocritical to just be like those people,
Oh
but
yeah. No.
apparently it's
Cause
not. Apparently it's okay to say, "Oh, that thing you like as a hobby, it's dying. You should just let it die."
no. Yeah. True. Cause like literally everybody and and their mom that I knew literally just like looked at anime as like this niche weird thing, and they only saw it from like one perspective. And it's like the majority of people, they saw it as annoying. They thought, oh my gosh, look at these boring high school girls just trying to be all cutesy. Look at this weird pervert guy. Because we all kind of just based off like anime, and unfortunately Japanese people in general at the time, as very just perverse, weird, like aesthetics, culture, all that stuff. And it just, people were saying all that shit. Even when like shows were trying to be anime, or like, a lot of Western shows trying to be anime, the West, French shows, all that stuff. And they tried doing that. People just saw it from like one lens and not as like a medium or anything like that. They just saw like they saw it was weird and they didn't like it and they made fun of it until it just got popular enough where it's like, okay, this is making some money, maybe we can promote it. And that's when people started liking it, because then people started taking it quote unquote seriously and just saw it in the same vein as like Disney or other like animated stuff, because that's just how it was.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Western wise, I think the shows that kind of help people maybe look at anime more were some of the later, like not super later, but like Teen Titans and
Hmm.
Avatar. It's probably what
Oh
like
yeah,
kind of
most
helped
definitely.
it. Like there was
Most
all,
definitely.
I mean, Naruto already was helping, but I think those two really helped maybe show people like, oh well, maybe it can work in the West, and then
Exactly.
yeah, and but nowadays it's just people always saying it's both sides, but it's still just. But at least my feed wise, I still get more annoying. Oh, the West this, West that stuff, and I'm like, oh my god.
No, no, yeah. It's like it's essentially like why when I was like on the animation side of things, I kept seeing like people constantly like I don't know if you were there or not, or if you saw it, like the whole turning red situation, the
That
last
blew
one that
up for that. Here's the thing that pisses me off about. I'm sorry about like
No,
interrupting,
go
but it's
ahead.
like
No, you
my
go
own
ahead.
rant about that. What pissed me off is that it had a trailer months ago. Months
Yeah.
ago. It's been announced forever, and out of nowhere, I don't know who started it, but it blew up in like more negativity. Because here's the thing: people were saying, "Oh, the returning red fans are annoying." I'm like, I know those annoying fans exist. I'm not gonna deny that,
Mhm.
but I saw more of
Yeah.
you guys being more annoying than they were. Because even then, no one retweeted an annoying person. That's the funny
Yeah.
thing. Because I can usually people retweet the annoying people, but I didn't see any on my feed of anyone saying they just said all these fans are annoying. But give me some proof. At least show me the feed so I can understand what you're talking about.
No, yeah, that's the sad thing. And it's like you said, I know they're out there too, but it's like it's so rare, because it's like it's essentially like when like this one person that I was talking to was saying like doing that turning red thing, and they saw that tweet and everything saying like, oh, Pixar fell off, and they were just like, and unironically they said like, oh, and like Japanese animation, Western animation, the comparison thing,
Yeah.
greater than comparison. And I saw that and I'm just like, nah. And we kind of had like a little back and forth, and they were just saying like, oh hey, that's kind oh hey, like, well, some people like praise Western animation more than anime. I was like, do they though? Because like anytime I see this argument, when people just enjoy like a Western animated show, they don't make a comparison. They don't say which is better or anything like that. They just be like, oh hey, this is actually really cool and I like this. And that's really about it. Like, they might be out there, they're just a rare breed, but it's like no one's saying that. No one is making a comparison of like saying like the Western stuff is better than Japanese animation, because it's like, oh my god, I can like both because I'm a thinking unique individual or something like that. No, I gotta keep saying Japanese animation better than any other shit. And I try to show them that, hey, there's other stuff out here. Like, we got a lot of good shit. I'm not gonna sit here and act like there's nothing. there.
And I think a
And
lot
it's
of
like
that
you
is
to do that.
like the mindset of they already had so many bad things that they kind of want to only think of the negative sides. Or, like I've always said, listen to your favorite Twitter or YouTuber and don't think for yourself.
Yeah, like, bro,
You
what's
know,
good? Like, you don't got a mind of your own
because
shit.
like when it came to Owl House,
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen a couple episodes finally, but before even then, people like I saw maybe two or three people like saying it wasn't great. But my main complaint with those people was, can you explain to me why it's not good? They
Mm-hmm.
never really explained it. They just said it's not great. And I'm like, I need like an explanation. And like I know other people say, oh well, the fans are mad because this one YouTuber made this really good critique and not saying it's not great. I'm like, so just one YouTuber out of like, don't get me wrong, yeah, there's crazy fans, but I'm not gonna just base all the fans off of those crazy ones because it sounds like it's just
Yeah,
one YouTuber who've done this. And even then, who
exactly.
knows? And the way you guys are acting, who knows if the video might have been biased? I don't know. I'm not gonna watch it. It could be good. It could be bad. He could have had some fair points. Who knows? You guys are making
Just
it.
give a proper critique.
Yeah, but you guys are making me not want to watch it because you guys seeming kind of assholes about it.
And that's just a problem. Like, we're just always out here like getting mad at somebody for having the quote unquote either A, unpopular opinion, or B, just having the same regurgitated opinion that we just can't really have like a nuanced conversation or just like think about it from a different perspective. Because yeah, here's the thing. I might like some things that people don't like. That's fine. I'm cool with that. But don't just like be saying something is bad because it's quote unquote, just bad. All right. Like, okay, why don't you like this show? It's bad. Okay, why is it bad? It just is. Okay, how come you're not explaining it to me then? I don't have to explain. It's just bad. Just go watch it. Okay, I'm gonna go watch it. It's actually a pretty good show. Then your opinion is invalid or some shit like
Yeah.
that. Man.
I know you've talked about the guy. Like, I love animation. I think
Yeah.
I have interacted with him too, and I thought he was okay. I thought he was making a point about like it was either him or someone else I follow who made a point about like the Black April character. And
Yeah.
I said, yeah, people who get mad about her is annoying because she's a pretty good character. She's pretty different. And then they got
Mm-hmm.
mad at me saying, oh, no, she's not. She's like a racist interpretation. She's a stereotype. She's a token character. And I'm looking back, I'm like, how can you be a token character when everyone's a mutant?
Literally.
Because even if
like
she was white, she would still be a token character then, wouldn't she, at that point, right? Or am I wrong? I
like
don't.
like like that's but that's the thing. She is like essentially like saying you're saying she's this stereotype, this token, and all this stuff when she's actually a very fun and diverse character, and she's literally just become her own thing. And again, it's like my main issue with I Love Animation or Islam, whatever they call him, is that I actually tried to sit down and watch one of his videos. He does have a YouTube
I didn't know
channel.
that.
Yeah, me neither. But I literally watched like his video ranting about like modern cartoons, and it's essentially like you just said. He's not making any points. He's just ranting about like cartoons nowadays, and even then, he's just regurgitating the same hot take of like, "Oh no, Cal Arts," which that is not a fucking
In
thing. Y'all
my
need to
opinion,
stop saying that.
anyone who still uses Cal Arts is an idiot because it's been debunked multiple times.
Literally so many times, and
And
it's literally only.
I
Oh, go
even
ahead.
looked up Cal. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's just
No,
like
you good.
I
Go
think I'm
ahead.
like you. I'm just so like I've had saved this in, so now I'm talking about it publicly. It's
Yeah,
like really getting to me a little bit. Not like upset, but more of like I can hype up myself and be talk about the stupid shit. But
by all
I've
means.
seen Cal Arts like pictures. Nothing
Hmm.
looks like that.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Like
Like where does that come from?
it okay, so it's like the main reason why a lot of people say this and why it got misconstrued is because it was said by the creator of Ren and Stimpy, John Kay. And
Why did people
here's the
listen to
context,
him? Because I think by that point,
right?
When Steven Universe was out, I think all that shit he did came out, didn't it? Or
Yeah,
was it?
that's the thing. Everybody forgets at that point. It's like, first off, y'all are quoting a weird ass guy who's done some not so great things, by the way, and it's just and what gets to me is that he's referring to like Hollywood animation at the time, and he's also just referring to like, ironically enough, 80s cartoons that people used to praise back in the day. Like, he's talking about those shows. He is not referring to whatever the fuck all this is.
So he wasn't
Like,
even talking about current.
no.
What? Then what?
Like for some reason they just got that idea because like the quote unquote majority of people literally got together who are from Cal Arts, and it's like funny thing, like only like two of those people from those said shows only went to Cal Arts, and other than that, they didn't really do shit. You
I,
know,
yeah.
they just did their own thing. They went to other schools and all that. But yeah.
Also, what made
Mhm.
that thing debunked was also someone took the time. I can't remember who the guy was, but he found images and he's like, all this image where it's Cal Arts, it's all fake because the character shapes aren't. Some of the character shapes aren't like this,
Yeah.
and it's like bean style. I'm like, what do you what? I don't actually even when I look at those characters, I don't see a bean. I don't know what they mean by that. I'm just like, what?
Like I just I don't understand why a lot of people just had that mindset. Yeah, certain shows may look samey, but at the same time, they're also just stand out on their own by being like different stories, different characters, and different even design wise. Like if I showed you like different clips out of context, you would not see any of these shows as the same. They literally have their own different style going on. So that's about it.
I
It's
was more
like
baffled when they put Gumball on there. I'm like, Gumball has
right.
so many different styles in there. It has 3D animation, 2D animation, pixel animation. Like what?
I feel like I feel like Gumball kind of bothers me the most because, like you said, it's different animation, and, and also because Gumball was made in Europe. That's a European cartoon, bro.
Well, I mean, it's just like how people got mad at Horizon Zero Dawn and calling it an American studio, but it's not based in America.
Exactly.
And that's the
Like,
one thing they stereotype West. They also stereotype. It's funny because the people who are Westerners stereotype
mhm.
Westerners, and I'm like, you are from here.
I love it when they say that shit. It's like the motherfuckers say like you Westerners, and they live in fucking Kentucky or some shit.
I mean, even the people who are from Europe, I'm like, isn't Europe? I'm not sure. I'm not good at maps. I'm not good at that stuff, that's
Me
geography. But
neither.
isn't Europe still kind of Westerner by all accounts, or am I wrong with that? Or is it another type, ER or whatever?
Like, I mean, despite the fact they still rope them into that for some reason. So your guess is as good as mine. And
Yeah,
it's just it's just awkward or just strange and infuriating at times because it's like I want to just enjoy this shit without having to like make a weird comparison or just call people just Westerners or all this stuff because it's like, I'm sorry, I enjoy things differently than you, or I can enjoy both things because I am me. I am an individual. But whatever, I guess.
I still remember when what was it? It was something. I'm trying to really remember this because it was really stupid when it happened.
Hmm.
I think my brains just has all the different stories I want to tell mixed into one right now.
Happens.
Fuck, I forget it. But go back to like what I love animation real quick. What
Yeah.
makes me laugh about that is he once because it's still on the like the topic, but it's still he. I remember he once called One Piece milking because he's like it's only popular because they're milking it, and I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, bring series back like Blue Exorcist. I'm like, Blue Exorcist has the manga. You can go read the manga.
It's all there.
I
Like,
mean,
come on now,
it's
bro.
not that hard, dude. But I think another thing that bothers me when it comes to a lot of stuff, Western and stuff, is how at least the other side tries and I mean like by quote unquote the Western side tries and force things into the Eastern side. I'm like, don't do that. That's their own culture and stuff like that. They don't have to follow what you want.
No, yeah, and that's true. And I have finally taken like some notice of that. And like I said, that's a weird slippery slope, and I ain't gonna
Yeah,
get into none of that. But
yeah.
like,
I
I
don't
will
blame you.
say it's a problem, you know,
Yeah,
because and that's another thing. A lot of a lot of people. Another thing that I've also seen from like the other side of things, where it's just like they like to have this weird idea that they know Japanese people or Japanese culture, and that's
yes.
another issue I have,
Actually,
where it's like.
you made me remember.
Oh, okay. There we go.
You made me remember because that's what I was gonna talk about is the comic thing
Hmm.
again. Because I've seen some guys who act like who say they talk to a lot of Japanese people and they don't like how American comics are. And I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But then I see some people who are Japanese or of any other Asian descent draw art of like the most of like their favorite Marvel stuff or DC stuff. I follow artists
Yeah.
who likes drawing Spider Gwen, X-23. She's even drawn X-23 as Wolverine.
Yeah.
So she even drew their like Laura's little sister character, Honey Badger, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's new. That's
Yeah.
recently new stuff.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing. A lot of Japanese artists really love this shit. I remember a while back I saw someone they did this like little art of like Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, and I'm just like that shit is cute and I love that. And like they like this stuff. A lot of these mangaka artists like come on. The author of My Hero literally loves Marvel comic, one and all, new and old. So, come on, man.
Like
We
you
can't act like they don't like this shit.
actually, even then, it's been confirmed that the guy who's doing Super right now, the current manga for Super, loves Marvel.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because I know I follow one guy on YouTube, and he brought up how like if you look closely, there are like little references to the MCU at times.
I just didn't notice that. Nice.
Like the recent chapter, one of the recent chapters where Goku's fighting, I think his name Gas or something, and
Mhm.
all of a sudden he start making trains appear, and you could reference that back to what movie has like flying trains all of a sudden that came out around the same time the manga was still going. Spider Man,
Man, no way home, bro. Come on, man.
and you can't look at that and be like, "Oh, that's not a reference." That is a reference. Come on, man. Like, why is it? Why does that feel like Spider Man all of a sudden? Like,
like, bro, come on, man. We know.
so it just feels weird.
It is weird, and it's just like again, that's just the problem where it's just like you can't enforce this like idea, or like you can't enforce like your ideas or ideologies on this other culture, but you can't sit here and pretend you know this culture either. Like, so either way, you're kind of just fucking up, bro.
That's
Like,
that's why I
I'm
sometimes
sorry.
say, "I'm sorry, you're not gonna go to Japan and get yourself a Japanese girlfriend, boyfriend all of a sudden."
Exactly, and I'm also sorry to say, Japan is not the perfect society you think it is, bro. They got
They
their
got
own baggage
they
going
got their
on.
own fuck ups like we do.
But good luck, bro. Good luck.
Like,
Mm,
oof, man, that's not great.
exactly.
The only
So
time I agreed with like Japan being upset with comics was the one time they lied about the Squirrel Girl comic, and they used a different cover so they would trick them. They read it, and I'm like,
no,
that's
yeah,
fucked.
no, yeah, no. I feel that.
I was like, that's fair. That's fair for them to be upset about that one.
Oh yeah, no, because like, come on, man. They say don't judge a book by its cover, and that's exactly why you get shit like that.
I'm like, that's fair.
Um,
That's a fair complaint for them. I give them that one. I was mad about that.
mhm.
But oof, and then it was one guy me and you both agreed on. I can't remember who he was, but he brought up like, man, Japan's doing great. They're the only ones who respect black people a lot, because it was the newest KOF character that came out.
Oh yeah,
But I'm
yup.
like, it's not like more of respect. It's more of, well, I mean, the guys who make it probably love other cultures. That's probably why they add so many. But it's not
Yeah.
because they're respecting you, man. They're doing more or less just because they're like, oh, let's add a new country in here.
And yeah, that's essentially just what it is. Because here's the thing: Japan and its history on how they portray black people, period, is long, rough, and very exhausting after a while. It's complicated to say the least. And it's like, I know it's not their fault. Okay. A lot of their ideas pretty much just came from them watching a bunch of like old school Looney Tunes
Yeah, a
cartoons where
lot of
they
it's
had a black
more
face.
ignorance than actual racism. Like
Exactly.
there obviously is racism probably in their country,
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Oh yeah, no, without a doubt, yeah.
but a lot of it's ignorance. So I'm not gonna just say, oh, they're racist. That's not cool. Just to assume that automatically
Oh
without
no,
any real evidence.
exactly. And yeah, it's. it's essentially just wives like that. I used to follow this YouTube channel where it's just showing a lot of like black people in Japan, why they moved there, where they went out there for opportunities and a bunch of other stuff. And it's like they acknowledge that, yeah, it's nice here, but it's still not without its issues either.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. So yeah, nah. And
I mean, one example of a black character that didn't turn out good was the one character from Shaman King. I think it's Dopey. Actually, I have the fucking book. I don't know where it is, but I've seen
yeah, Taco
old.
Love.
I saw other version. I saw another version of him before I started reading the manga. Because even in anime, he was different compared to the
Yep.
manga version. And I've recently been getting the omnibuses, like the 3-in-1 volumes. And when
Oh,
he finally
nice.
got to it, they cut that he's 100% drawn differently.
Yeah. And that's kind of just the thing, right? Like
Because
they understand the assignment. It's like sometimes and that's the thing. Like sometimes animators will like miss the mark on certain
yeah.
things, on how characters are drawn or portrayed or anything like that, and sometimes they'll just change them entirely.
And I don't know if that
Like
was the mangaka who edited it, or even though I think he probably realized, oh, that's a fuck up on my part, isn't it?
exactly.
Because the character's cool. Like I like him, so I mean he's not a bad written character. He
Oh hell yeah, love Choco Love.
Yeah, Chocolo's not a bad written character, so that probably was more ignorance on how he drew him. He was trying to I think if he was trying to make him a stereotype, that's fine. But I think there's better ways he could have done it instead of like so overt, obviously.
Exactly. It's like because mangakas even they could realize, okay, I kind of messed up and I want to change that. So yeah, they'll just do something different. It's like no different than any other artist where it's like, hey, I've grown from this. I want to do something a little different. Like it happens in their writing, it happens in the middle of their just change up over time. It's no big deal.
It's fine. Just do if you think you best up, you best up.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Fix your
know,
mistakes, apologize, move on.
yeah, I know another annoying thing was, oh my god, why am I brain farting so much? Jesus Christ.
Now trust me, it happens, especially when you got a lot on your mind, a lot to say.
I have a lot to say. Oh, it was like on the tip of my tongue, and I lost it again. Oh, I remember if you brought something up. What do you have next to say about all this?
God, there's so much. So I guess like back on the topic of like, that Japan understanding black people and everything. Like again, they understand. They know that there's like, a whole different culture out there. Look at the guy who did Cowboy Bebop. He understands like, hey, there's other cultures outside of ours, and I want to explore that. I want to talk about them. I want to showcase their stories. And this actually also has to do with like an upcoming video I'm working on. Um Takashi Okazaki, the creator of Afro Samurai, he absolutely has nothing but respect for like black culture and everything because he loves the music. He loves like he loves a lot of the movies he grew up on and everything. And it's like he doesn't try to stereotype. He literally just be like, I want to write a story. I want to write a revenge story about about like a samurai or Ronin or about this guy trying to avenge his dead father, and he just so happens to be black. And that's what he did. There was nothing that he really did that was like, I would say, stereotypical, even reading the original manga, and he just did his thing. He knew the assignment, he knew what to do. It's like, I'm not going to cross boundaries. I'm just going to have hip hop and just mix it with Japanese culture as well. That is it. That is all he did. And he didn't act like he knew what he was talking about. He just wanted to tell a story. And I love that. I like that. And I feel like a lot of people never really pay attention to that as opposed to just saying, like, oh, look at this, you know, other anime where it's like kind of has a borderline racial stereotype. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand when it comes to like the stereotyping thing. There's like the typing where it's like, oh no, I know a motherfucker like that in real life. Like
Hmm.
you know a black person like that in real life. You're like, because when I saw April in TMNT, I'm like, no, there's girls who act like that. I've met them. I've had
Oh,
cousins
hell
who
yeah.
act like her.
I got friends who act like her, and they are a delight to
Like
be around.
she's not a
For
stereotype.
real.
But then there's other
Exactly.
things that are like, no, that's a little much there. That's a little racist what you just did there, sir. Sir, ma'am. Oh,
Exactly.
like there's overt, and then there's like, no, I know someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
which I think a lot of people don't get, and sadly, even black people for some odd reason I don't understand,
Yeah.
don't get it.
Yeah, so true. But nah, that's fair. And okay, this is kind of like a controversial topic, but I guess this is something I feel that needs to be said about the quote unquote blackwashing.
I'm fine with that. I
If we
mean, I
can,
got annoyed by that today, so I'm fine with that.
there we go. And and here's the thing. I can understand why people don't like it. That is fine. That is valid. You
Yeah,
can do what you do. It's how you react to it is kind of the problem, though.
that is 100% the problem, in my
Because
opinion.
like, oh yeah, no, I agree. 'Cause, like, here's the thing, and I understand where a lot of people are coming from, and it's like, and I saw this recent tweet today where it's like, stop blackwashing, embrace originality, or something like that. That was the meme, and this is the current thing that's going around now. And I saw that, and I'm like, you're grasping at straws here because Boondocks is an anime, and nobody fucking watched Cannon
Oh,
Busters.
I
I
saw
watched
that.
Cannon
I
Busters.
watched
Yeah,
Busters too.
yeah,
When that
exactly.
came
And
out,
it's like,
no one talked about it.
exactly. And it's like I might have mixed feelings about it, but overall I love Cannon Busters.
Maybe that should be
And
another podcast some other day. We talk about that because
oh
that's a
yeah.
can of worms too.
Yup. Like Sean Thomas, thank you for that. But like, bro, I feel like anytime people bring that argument into the fray, I feel like you say this, but you never actually promote original shit. I'm noticing a pattern here.
It's like both sides and every race does it for some reason. And I don't get it. I don't. And what makes me mad about the Spy X Family thing, the reason why more people are drawing that character black is because someone
Mm,
was a racist asshole about it. And I bet you
exactly.
none of them are gonna know that, and they're just thinking, "Oh, they're just doing this," and I'm like, "No, they're doing it to piss actually someone off."
Exactly. And it's like, as always, we are somehow making something that went from bad to a good thing, which, depending on how you view it, is one way or another a wild situation, regardless. But it's like, it's just strange to me because, like, again, I try to promote as many original characters as I have, but I'm
Yeah,
also not going to like diss on artists and tell them what to do
yeah.
and how to do it because I enjoy that shit. They worked on it. They want to do what they do. By all means, go off,
Like
fam.
most of my criticism when it comes to the idea of like race swapping is
Mm-hmm.
only time I like my main two criticism is I don't like it when they're doing it only for attention and to get like likes and retweets, and I'm like that. In my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, that I feel like as artists, you shouldn't just do it for attention. You should try and get attention with your own original stuff or just the fan art of characters you are like as they are. I mean, you can do what you want, but I just don't. But when I hear you're only doing them, drawing them like this for to get your likes and attention, I feel some way about that. I feel like you're not. It doesn't feel like you're doing it for a good reason. Like you're just kind of
No,
doing.
yeah, no.
And then the other reason has to deal with the people who race bend and they're assholes about it.
No, yeah, that's true because they
And
do that
and
a
then they
lot.
also draw them pretty racist too.
Yeah, and like I remember the whole like Uzaki-chan situation that happened.
That was a fucking
Person was just like,
hellhole.
and I'm just like aside from me just thinking the anime was just overall meh at first, and like after the controversy, it was just like the whole thing went down with that was insane. You had motherfuckers like Hirohei just producing video after video like 3 times a day about that girl, even after when everybody stopped caring. And like
Hey
when
man,
the
he needs his
fan art
money.
came out, yeah. And when the fan art came out and stuff, it was like people had their own interpretations. And I'm gonna keep it real. Some of them were really, really good. And
Yeah.
then, like you said, there were ones where people just drew just to be assholes about it. And
Or to prove a
man,
point to be like, I'm so much better than you. This is such a better drawing. And I'm like,
exactly.
can you just draw it and just be cool about it instead of being like uppity about like, oh I drew her with smaller boobs. I'm like, cool for you. I don't care. It looks pretty nice, but I don't want to like it because you're an asshole about it.
Exactly. So I'm just gonna save it and not give you any of that shit. But yeah.
There was one artist
And
who did. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You can go.
no, no, you go ahead.
There was an artist who did a really good version of her, and I really liked it. But the one individual we talked about, Black Sage, came in and was an asshole to
Ugh,
her and really rude to her. And I was like, dude, stop being such an asshole. Like, it's fine. Who cares? Get over it.
good
But
lord.
then she ruined it by being an asshole about it, by being like, oh, I made all the people mad. Yeah, I did her like this on purpose because I wanted to prove a point. And I'm like, you had it, and you ruined it. You ruined it for everyone. And then he came out and said, oh, all of you motherfuckers give me an apology. And I'm like, fuck you, motherfucker. I'm not giving you
Like, bro,
shit. She's an idiot, but you're an asshole.
bro, just cause she's being an asshole doesn't take away shit you done. The fuck, this ain't Steven Universe.
Like you got
Man.
nothing on this one, man. But yeah, that was a bad moment there. And I remember someone was trying to convince
Hmm.
me, oh well, the people who like it are worse because they're more meaner to us. And you know what happened like 2 days later?
What the? What happened?
Someone drew that character Abby from Last of Us 2 punching the head off of Yuzuka, or however you say her name.
Oh yeah, it was
two
like, oh
days
shit, yeah.
2 days
I remember.
later, and I tweeted saying, "Man, that person who told me that like the other side is better, worse, man, I'm not sure about that." Man, that was one of my tweets that got a lot of likes and a lot of retweets because I was just like, "Man, I hope shit's on your face right now, Jesus," because I didn't expect this to happen.
This fucking shit is blowing up. But yeah, no, I remember seeing that too. Good God. I just, I don't know. It was always kind of just one of those things where it's just like we have this weird rinse and repeat of how things go and everything as far as like art. Cause like, and this is kind of just like, I'm kind of going on a tangent now, so pardon me, but like, um, one thing that I always had to like deal with or hear whenever there's like a new anime about like, oh hey, girl bully and or teases guy, and it's like anime Twitter and other Twitter users are just like, I swear, they plan this stuff because it's like people are either A, going to get offended by it, or B, there's going to be the offenders who just get no clicks because not enough people care enough. So it's like when Nagatoro dropped, everybody was ready to say like pedophile, and they thinking everybody's going to say pedophilia or something like that. And say like, oh, she's underage and all that stuff, which yeah, she is. It happens, but like that's anime at this point. Um, they literally were just like either A, up in arms about it, and there was the other side that was just going off, and just nobody cared. Like, I remember somebody was looking at me thinking like, "Oh, are you offended by Nagatoro-san or whatever, something like that?" And I'm just like, "Who is this character again?" I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep up with like the bully girl of the month you're gonna drop within like a week after the series ends.
And
So, who is she again?
it really confused me about that because when I see it, like when I posted about like the three manga that I'm planning on reading, all three of them are
Hmm.
different from like clips and stuff I've seen. So it's really confusing to me when these arguments start because I'm like all three of these characters are very different from each other. One more like wants to be friends and he's like not having it, but he still hangs out with her. From at least from my little knowledge of it, other girl does tease and kind of a little bit bully him, but she does genuinely like him. And
Yeah,
then you have Dress Up Darling that I've been reading, which is really good, really really good, and that's a
very good.
whole
Yeah, I agree.
different compared to everything else.
No,
I,
yeah, like.
and I'm like, I know there is probably controversy of that for whatever
Mhm.
reason, but I'm like, all these three are different. I don't see any reason for people to really get mad. Also, the Nagatoro one was funny because I know one black artist I like following. Like, someone made the shitty joke of like calling her like I don't like saying the word, but like
And where
Nigatoro,
Taro got you.
yeah. And
Mhm.
one black artist drew her as a black character, and I'm like, you know what? That actually is good. She worked that out really well. Holy shit.
Ah, good old Mama Pooh. Yep.
And she took it, ran with it, and I was like, you know what? This actually works.
And she's been flexing on him ever since. Cause yeah, nah, it weirdly works, especially when she just make it into her own. Cause it's like, and I guess that's the thing. I always try to encourage. It's like if you're gonna do something like that, try just making it like as unique as possible with your style and everything. Don't just be like, hey, you dark skin now. Nah, you just gotta do your thing with it. Cause and it's also kind of like like falls back into like my what I was saying earlier about like how people react to this. I don't know if you remember this at the time or if you've seen it on we on like anime cringe anime memes, whatever that like Twitter account is, and they literally had the saying like, "Oh man, black people in anime. This is what makes anime so pure without the black people in it." I'm just like,
Oh yeah.
you just choose racism, don't you? Why?
Was it? Remember the other one? I think there was another one that says, "I watch anime to escape from black people," and I was just like, "What the fuck?"
Bro. And it's like, I know some of these are quote unquote bait, but it's like, bro, just because it's bait doesn't mean it's funny. I'm
It's
sorry.
not funny.
like you have no other jokes. You just decide to just choose racism as the default, which is something I'm noticing a lot when it comes to like anime Twitter, TikTok, pretty much any social media with an anime attached
Hell,
to
man,
it.
not even anime Twitter. Just anyone who likes anime.
Exactly. And it's just getting to the point where it's just like weird because now they're attacking voice actors now. Just
Oh
voicing the
yeah.
character.
Remember?
Like,
Oh,
mm,
sorry, I didn't. I keep doing that in my
no,
head.
go ahead.
But remember when Mirako got her voice actor? And a lot of people are like, even though Mirako's not well black, she's just dark skinned Japanese. A lot of people wanted a black voice actor, and they finally got one. But do you remember what happened when we finally got the black voice actor? What
Yeah.
controversy started over that? And goddamn,
Yep.
that's another moment of, god damn it, why is like I'm black, but every time I see some shit, I'm just like, god damn it. It was because she did not sound black enough, and I'm like, what the fuck does
Ugh.
that mean? And funny thing, I've had people tell me when I speak or act. So I was like, God damn it.
No, I feel that. Like, it's like, like before I like got older and everything and like voice finally kicked in, I was pretty much just like this, just like I pretty much had like a light toned voice and everything until I like turned 10, and next thing you know, boom, my balls drop, and now I'm just like I talk like this now. This has
I'm
been my voice since I was 10 years old.
I'm even more confused by the idea of like the black voice thing because there's a white dude I watch on YouTube who I thought was black because of how he spoke because it was the
Mhm.
old kind of stereotypical like ghetto gangster tone. But
Yeah.
I saw what he looked like, oh, you're white. And
Yeah.
and he speaks to, and that's also a way to learn through psychology and stuff like that. Your environment can mix up your voice. So
Hmm.
if he grew up in kind of like the ghettos and stuff like that, or around a lot, hanged out with more black people than anything else, that's his tone. That's gonna be how he starts speaking, because he's around
Exactly.
people who are speaking like that, so he starts adapting, not on purpose. Just it just happens.
Exactly. And that's the thing that I've learned over the years where it's just like it's kind of one of the reasons why I understand where people are coming from, where like there's a difference between how you naturally talk and you just using a black scent. When you use a black scent, you can tell like this person's using all types of like yo-yos, gangster shit, all that stuff. Like, hey, yo, what's good, boy? You can tell that's just like a poor white dude doing a black scent. And then it's like as opposed to another guy who's just like, oh, I talk like this. This is just how I am. And yeah, that's just what it is.
Yeah,
And it's just like that, man. Mm,
yeah.
mm.
I felt bad for that woman when that happened. When people were just so mad about that, and I'm like, what the fuck? You guys wanted it, and then we gave it to. They gave it to you. Then you're mad about it. Like, how did you want her
Right.
to sound? I'm really curious because what does a black voice sound like to you? And including the people who are black, what does that sound like to you?
Brother really wanted like Miracle to sound like fucking Megan Thee Stallion or something. I don't know.
Who knows? I don't know, man. I'm just like, she's here. She's speaking in English by all accounts. It's fine. Who cares? She
It's
seems like a good voice actress, so it's fine.
oh yeah, she's great. And Nara's cute, she's amazing. And like I said, when and it's like then it just started to become a trend, unfortunately, where it was just like this voice actor is black. And then they just start bringing in the racist jokes. N-word Taro, Night Skins, that's the latest one.
What is that one?
Okay, so like I can't remember her name. Like basically there's this one black voice actress. She's on Twitter still. God bless that woman's soul. And like literally she literally got nothing but like comments in the quote tweets when she was announced to voice this one anime character. She got nothing but like a lot of like racist comments on top of like the quote tweets or in her comment section and everything. And it's like the one that stood out the most was the latest slur from anime Twitter, simply calling her night skin, simply saying like we are waging war against these night skins. Bro, what is that? We sound like you make us sound like a bunch of like demons or something, which
I mean, that
ironically
sounds like
sounds
a.
really cool.
I mean, yeah, that sounds like a cool name. If I heard the name Night Skin, I'd be like, that sounds badass, man. That sounds pretty cool. Like, no, if I someone
Right?
called me a Night Skin, I'm like, I'll take that. That sounds badass. I'll take that
Exactly.
as a nickname.
Exactly. And it's just like, are you even insulting us at this point? You're kind of just making us sound cooler than we actually are, which, hey, by all means, keep doing
I
that.
mean, so
Whatever makes you feel validated.
I know one day I'll probably go into the topic of the orc incident, but I'm just like, really, orcs of all things you're gonna compare us to? Why not Oni? Onis are pretty badass. I'd be fine with that.
Just like that,
But
man.
no,
I
not.
don't know why.
Oh man, I would like to hear a Japanese person, like a really good, like in Japanese saying "nice kid," and I was like, oh man, that sounds pretty badass, and I was like, that sound more badass.
Yo, yo, voice actors, please get on that. I want to see what nice. I want to hear night skin sounds like in Japanese.
You'd be like,
Um,
I'm like, oh, okay, Black Community, we have a new decision. We're going back nice skins now. It's pretty badass. We took it
and
and took
everybody
it
just
away from
agrees.
you and made it cool.
Exactly. It's like, yes, we got a new cool name now.
Like you should have said that. It now sounds cool now.
Exactly, and just it's like it's just stuff like that though. Like in general, is just like, how are you just so gung ho about like who voices your character now? Like at first it was just like here's the thing. I understood like the whole controversy of like black voice of like black characters like having white voices and then replacing them, which yeah, that's a whole other can of worms and everything. And it's like sometimes I get it, other characters not really, but then it's like now we're just at this point. This just comes like full circle now. I'm just making theories at this point where it's just like now it's just gotten to the point where it's like now these people are mad that black people are just doing like adding English dubs to like these voice casts and everything, these characters and all that stuff. And it's like y'all have no form of criticisms. Y'all just like literally be like, ah yes, niggas, and that's it.
I I now remember what I was gonna bring up because I think it was about the art stuff again. But
Oh yeah.
it was when someone drew like, well, by all accounts, Tess took an image of Vegeta but edited it to make him look black, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty
Mhm.
nice. And then
Oh yeah,
people decided to jump on that and
as
use,
usual.
oh man, he's a real monkey character and stuff like that, and blah blah blah.
Ugh.
And I'm like, do you motherfuckers know the fact that the black community love Dragon Ball Z a lot? Like
Literally.
a lot? Because you're actually probably actually being really racist. Because guess what? A lot of black people back in the day, I shouldn't say a lot. People might think I'm putting them words in the mouth, but it's somewhat true from my experience with it.
Oh yeah.
That motherfuckers wanted to be Super Saiyan, man.
On
I'm
God. Like
27-year-old and I still want to be a Super Saiyan.
same here. Like bro, like at this point, like when like I still think back to how like the RZA kind of like had his own interpretation of like Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah.
saying like how the Saiyans like represent like the black community and Frieza is pretty much just like being this big colonial tyrant and everything, which looking back he's kind of right, but at the same time that's just a weird
I
interpretation.
mean, I saw that the first time. I was like, oh yeah, he's right. Second time I rewatched it, like recently, like a couple months back, I'm like, oh man, this didn't really, because of how it changes the person. This doesn't age well for me. Oh no.
Yeah.
I feel like you're kind of picking too many pieces and trying to put it together. But
Yeah.
do you, man? I think you should put this on like your own professional thing. I think you should have made a separate video, but do your thing.
That's just how it goes. But yeah, nah, that's just how it is. Like the black community loves Dragon Ball and seeing it. We love I'm pretty sure like a lot of like black kids growing up probably like who saw Dragon Ball and everything. It's probably the same way like my parents probably grew up watching like a old school martial arts movies or
Yeah,
Bruce Lee movies, you know?
that's
Like
probably
they
why
just
some
saw
parents
themselves
even watched it with their kids. I know my mom loved watching it with me when
Oh
I was
yeah?
younger. Yeah.
Nice. Oh man, like I think I ended up becoming like friends with like one of my sister's like girlfriends and everything when like when I was just watching Dragon Ball one day as a kid, and then she pulled up and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're watching Dragon Ball?" I'm just like, "Heck yeah!" And that, bam, I just had like a random gal pal at like 7 years old.
I know I had met someone
Man,
like that too. It was like actually, yeah, that actually relates to it also. Like it was a girl too. I remember going to
hmm
kindergarten for the first time. Mind you, I will say she wasn't black because of where I grew up, but at the same time, it was
that's
weird
fair.
meeting a girl being like, "Oh, you like Dragon Ball Z?" Because she used to carry like I think it was a Gohan figure around when we were in
Word,
kindergarten. Yeah, I was
nice.
like, "Oh, cool." But yeah, I didn't like that when the Vegeta thing dropped. Also, it
hmm
wasn't so it really didn't. Also, bother me when I saw some of my own mutuals getting in on that, and I'm like, dudes,
Uh,
this is like, you know, I'm black, and you know I
like,
might feel a type of way, and I know they'll say, but we're not serious, we're not racist. I'm like, yeah, but you're still being an asshole though. Doesn't mean just because you say you're not racist doesn't mean I can't say you're an asshole.
exactly, like, bro, it's just one of those things. Like, I appreciate, like, listen, we're cool, we're all this, that, and the third, but if you ever like say some shit like that, we're just like, I wouldn't say block you. We'll probably block you if you go hard R on that shit. But
Yeah,
like, I just can't follow you or associate with you. You acting like that, especially when I'm right fucking here. It's essentially like your friend just dropping the N word casually right in front of you, in front of like all his other like white friends, just
and
not acknowledging you.
that happened to me, even though I didn't like the kid. We weren't friends.
Yeah,
He thought we were friends, and I'm like, no, motherfucker, we're not friends.
it's like who is we speaking French, cuz
I
man.
still remember when he said, "Well, Jalen's cool with it," and I'm like, "Oh God, I just said my real name. God damn it."
Oh man, it's all
Whatever.
good, too.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember he said, "Oh yeah, he's cool with it," and I'm like, I didn't say anything. I just walked away.
As you should. You did the right thing, cause man, uh,
I mean, the me
some folks are
today would
just
probably
too.
have said some words to him, but
Mhm.
me back then just left it alone. So you
I'm
better be
pretty sure
happy he
me
didn't
back.
meet me now.
No, trust me. I'm pretty sure me back then probably would just been like, "So do you want to go? So do you want to just get slammed on the table or the floor? I will make it your choice."
Well, this was outside on concrete, so he would have been slammed on concrete.
Exactly, bro. This is wild to me, son. But
Actually, I take it
like,
back. Either the concrete or the sidewalk. Pick. Yes, your true. That's your poison. Which one?
there you go. But it's like, nah, because it's like a lot of these edits, it's like it's like it's different from when like Hollywood or like big, like corporate execs decide to like race swap a character. That's permanent, or at least permanent enough to be on the show. Meanwhile, this is just fan art at the end of the day. It's not gonna hurt you. It should make you feel invalidated as a person or individual or et cetera, et cetera. It's just like it's art. You don't have to like it. Doesn't give you an excuse to be a racist piece of shit, though.
And yeah, I mean, if you're
Respect.
gonna criticize it, at least criticize how like if they messed up on a part there, or how like the shading might be a little bit off. Like, don't be an asshole. Just because like, oh,
Ex-
you drew a black, that's my criticism. I'm like, that's not real criticism though, man.
Exactly, man. Just it's stupid. It's tiring, and it's just like I hope we eventually get to a point where it's just like, hey, this is just a random interpretation. I just want to get a little weirdly creative and
I kind of
make
hope
my
one
own
day
version
we go
of this
back to
character.
that because it used to be like that, and I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know when it started. It might be when Blacktober started when people got mad, but I feel like there was like a build up to it.
yeah. It usually is. So this was the final straw. This was what broke the camel's back, bro. I don't know how, but that's what happened. Ugh.
Oh man, that's a
And
time.
that's just what it is. It's
Hmm.
like, guys, it's just art. Well, it hurts me personally. Well, I mean, you draw little girls in weird ways, but I'm not gonna about it. I mean, I am, but I'm not gonna tell you that you're a terrible person. You're just fucking weird.
I just let people
Well, you see,
chill,
that's just
man.
art.
I just let people chill.
Man.
I'm just like, you're not hurting anyone. You're not hurting me. You're being chill about it. Fine. I just get. That's when only time I get on someone is like, that's when they're being weird. Weird. It's like, yeah, they might make a joke, but then it's like the joke goes a little like, wait, what did he just say? That's a
Literally.
little. That's a little much. That's a. There's a limit here. Because that's when it stopped
eh,
being like, oh yeah, whatever. To now I'm starting to get a little sus.
especially sus. It's like especially because I remember like one time. an old friend of mine. He just brought up casually like, "Oh man, I just really like I just really like how they just look so cute in their like little fits and stuff." And I'm just like, I will pay you to please stop talking to me. I will pay you to stop talking. Please don't bring that up. I am very uncomfortable, and I do not know who the fuck you are anymore. uh, just don't like that stuff, bro.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
I always just say, wait, and no one's hurting anyone, I'm fine. I say that about any art. It's just like as long as you're not being weird or just you're trying to hurt someone, it's like chill, man. Then, like I said, when
exactly.
people get weird is when I'm like, ooh, okay, that's a little strange there, man. That's a little strange there, man. I need to dial back a notch or say, please say you're kidding. Please say psych, please.
Literally, please say psych. Please say you're joking. Please tell me it's April 1st, cuz please.
Look at the calendar.
And
It's like the last day of April. Like, God damn it.
and it's just like, and it's like, I never say nothing about it because okay, I do explicitly say stuff about it, but I just like I leave it alone if it's not in front of me or nobody's bringing it to my face.
Yeah.
That being said, I won't lie. Like the whole Ken Penders situation, well, one of the many situations, and this is actually something I Love Animation also said when they bring up stuff like I don't see teenagers as minors, and no, they're not referring to fictional characters.
What?
Yeah,
Because, okay, I'm going to say this in one thing. There's like, I do like the art of the characters, but at the same time, I'm like, nah, man, don't go too far with it. And also, they're fictional. Then that's when I'm like, and then what he said is when it's like, okay, no, that's weird. That's wrong. What do you mean you don't think of them as teenagers? They're teenagers. This is a real person. This isn't a drawing.
and it's just like that. Anytime I see or come across like a weird post by I Love Animation, that it's usually just like I haven't, but unfortunately, there are certain people who just like that just like retweet his stuff
Oh, I
and
blocked
they'll
them, so I
pull
don't
and
see
they'll
any of
pull
it.
unfortunately they just pull up in like my quote unquote recommendations. I'm talking about animation, anime, whatever like
Oh
nerd
God.
stuff I'm into. And the one post that will forever live in my free in the worst way possible was him simply saying, I just don't is like I'm pretty sure there's like a certain age difference where it's like once like a kid is like, 14 to 15, they're not seen as like minors anymore. I just don't see them as minors personally. And I'm just like, I see this man talking all that shit, and it's like, that's fine, whatever. And then he applies that stuff to real life, and then I hear him like saying stories about how he just can't stand like kids in general, or like how he's just weirdly in kids' conversation stuff. And I'm just like, sir, please stay the fuck away from any of those people, or
Please.
just get off the internet because that's just weird.
I don't get how
And
he
I'm
has
not.
not been canceled. Because
I
that
just
statement.
because that's the thing. So many people agreed with him, and this is basically confirmed to me on Twitter that it's like it doesn't matter how wrong you are, how factually wrong you are. There's gonna be at least 100 or so people who will agree with you 100%,
And
no
that's their
questions
validation.
asked. Yeah,
And that's why I feel like a lot of people who are negative all the time because they know they're going to be people who like it. So that's their
exactly.
validation. Yeah, I know they'll say, "Oh, we don't want validation." Then I'm like, "Can you say something that's positive for once? Like some more positivity here and there? Like, man, like you can do some other things here. You can say some other things that might not be too negative about a topic. You can just have some positivity every once in a while, man."
Exactly. And that's just something that I try to do. Where I'll be real, I'm not. I suck at reviews. All right, I cannot tell you what's good or bad objectively speaking unless it's just blatantly
Bad,
objectively bad.
yeah.
Because like I got weird taste, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, but it's why I just mostly just talk about stuff that I like personally, and just never really talk about something that I personally don't like or shit on. It's why you'll never hear me talk about He-Man or older shows because that's just not for me. It's not for me. I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
And while but yeah, nah. Like essentially, it's just like We're pretty much just back on topic. I apologize for all.
This is called RambleCast,
uh,
man. So we're gonna have like random ramble tangents. So we've already done that multiple times already. So there's no need to apologize.
good thing at least I'm like helping with that, so I got you. But yeah, no, like as far as all that stuff goes, it's just like just enjoy what you like and feel free to criticize stuff, but don't feel like you gotta like take it to a certain level where it's just like you're not criticizing anything. You just are borderline racist, homophobic, and transphobic at this point. You're just ranting on now at this point. You're a rambling old man yelling at the clouds.
Actually,
And I feel sorry for you.
when I think about something I saw recently when it comes to the culture war stuff, is I've
Hmm.
seen people get even mad at Japan when they do certain things differently, and they think, oh,
Hmm.
this is SJW's rooting, and I'm like, not probably not. It might just. I mean, yeah, they do. There are times where they try to change things for American sensibility, which I'm like, don't change it because the people you are changing it for probably won't play it or watch it anyway.
Hmm.
So don't do that. But it's more of
Oh yeah.
like it's kind of like it's just their own thing they're doing. Like when Guilty Gear came out and Testament came out as non-binary, a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people were like cool with that. And even then, like I think you've even seen the thing I retweeted about how apparently
Oh
that
yeah.
was his like go all along, and there might have been mistranslations
Oh
before,
yeah. No.
which is
Yeah. I
possible, and
saw.
it could have taken years because he probably there's could have been a chance he never brought it up himself, or and I saw someone make a video
Hmm.
and it's like red-headed girl chick, and she I didn't even read the video because you know how YouTube now where you can roll with a video and it starts playing anyway.
Yeah.
I was reading the subtitles and she's like, I try and try again with developers. I'm like, oh, I see where this is going.
Oof.
I've seen her videos before. She's an anti-SJW. And I could tell where this
Yeah.
is
No. I
going. I'm
know
like,
who you're talking about.
oh, she's going to complain about the fact he's non-binary now and probably try to relate that to SJWs for some reason. Even though
Yep.
when Testament came out, art blew up for them. Art blew up really hard for Testament. And
No.
people were
Yeah.
drawing Testament in any gender. They did not care.
Exactly, because that's just essentially just what they are and everything. And it's like the fact that, because here's the thing. A lot, even though like, the thing with like Japan, a lot of like, regular just like artists and stuff, they acknowledge a lot of like progressive ideas. They really like to explore that stuff. They do not shy away from it. Hell, you want the best example? Look at Sailor Moon. That has everything progressive as far as like LGBT rep, trans, non-binary, all that stuff. They have all that in Sailor Moon.
Yeah,
It's
I didn't know about the
kind of
trans
no
one.
wonder a lot of folks came out, where they did because of that show. Mm,
At
You
least it took
know,
probably a little. At least in Japan and America, it took a little bit because don't forget, two of the characters were cousins. I mean, they could have just said close friends. I don't know why close friends were so hard to do.
yeah, you know how it is. Oh man, if that girl's showing a little too much affection, we can't have that cousin. That just makes it weirder, bro.
Yeah,
Sweet Home Alabama type beat.
I don't know why they didn't
So
make it
yeah,
like that, but yeah, I don't get that when a lot of people when they also get mad at Japan for doing stuff like that because, like I said, I get it if they're trying to do it to make America like Westerners. I hate saying it, but it's the only way I can really contradict like say it.
hmm,
Westerners or Americans or whoever they think will be mad at
yeah,
like it. Like I will get that. I think that's stupid. But if
no,
it's
yeah,
just if it was their own decision, like they didn't even care about what anyone else was think, you should respect that. You should be like, oh yeah, okay. You shouldn't
oh
automatically
yeah.
think it's them, it's the SJW. It's like no, wait, they're just doing it to do it.
Nah, bro, it's just Japan being based. So, I'm sorry if this hurts you personally, but that's just how they are.
Like when Testament came out as non-binary, a lot of people were happy. Everyone's like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Hell,
Exactly.
hell that probably made people probably go buy the game. Not a lot, but it probably made people go buy the game.
Psh, Shoot, I know. One of those characters maybe buy the game, biking, doing, but yeah,
Who else, man? Biken's like really. I mean, it's Biken. Biken's like the most hype female character out of everyone else in the show.
hell yeah.
Oof.
Uh,
I,
it's just
hmm?
it's, it's, it's just like that though, where it's like because a lot of these people just like they want to tell certain stories. There's certain they might not always be part of that demographic, but it's like there's like mangaka artists who just want to tell like LGBT stories their own way, even if it's a little smutty. It's just like, hey, it's still a good story most of the time. Most of the time, sometimes, 50-50.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's the flip of the
which,
coin.
oh yeah, true that. And I also feel like this is something that you've also brought up plenty of times, and I definitely agree on that. This is pretty much a topic I feel like we need to like discuss now.
Hmm.
Just because the art looks good doesn't mean it's gonna be good itself.
Yeah, that was with me when it came to what was it? The Yas. He was my favorite. He's my favorite Black Samurai. I can't remember his name now. Yosuke? Is it Yasuke?
Yasuke?
Yes, because that me and my friend watched that, and we both were like, "Animation's good. Mappa did a good job." But oh boy, this story
Yeah. Oh man.
that dropped
I
it, and everyone stopped talking about it. And I'm like, you know what? Fair enough. I'll give people this one.
no, yeah, because and I feel bad because like I really wanted to like Yasuke, and honestly, the first two episodes I was here for it, and it's like, and here's the thing, I kind of get it. I would have totally let a lot of this stuff slide because you know what, it has a little bit of fantasy element. That's fine. That's fine. Go off. It's an anime. I get it. Those things happen. It's when they brought in like robots for some reason. Like, huh? What? Why are there robots in this older era of Japan? What is going on?
I was
I'm
like, I kind of
confused.
just took it like Sakura Wars, where they're just random robots, even though it looks like it's like takes place in like the 1950s or 40s or whatever. And I'm like, whatever.
But it's like it's still supposedly grounded in. I kind of just want it to be like when it showed like Yasuke in his past and everything.
Yeah,
That was actually interesting. I like that. Why was that? Why is it not just that?
yeah, I
What
get what you.
happened?
I see you. I see what you mean.
Oh man.
My problem was just how
Then-
fast paced it was. It was like, I'm like, this should have been 3 seasons. This shouldn't have been one whole series. Cause it
Oh
was
my
like
god.
boom, boom, boom. I'm like, man, some of this should have just split up into more episodes. We could have had more experience with Yosuke, and then like everything else. But all right, it was. Yeah, after it came out, I was like, I gave my own opinion on it, and I was just like, I can't recommend this. Don't watch this.
Most I can recommend is like, hey, the animation's good and music is pretty fire.
just, just try to turn your brain off 100%.
Watch this show while you're high. All that's all I can say.
Man, I don't know if even being high can help with some of that. Because I've met people who are
Dang.
high and they're still. I've met people who are high and they're still smart. They're still coherent of what's going on.
It's like, damn, even the weed not kicking in, bro. Like,
Yeah,
no, bro, it kicked in. Oh, never mind.
because I think
But yeah,
wasn't that tweet more based on like it was like both animation and stuff, but also design of characters. Because I was just like, how when it
it,
comes to especially Japanese like anime, from what I've seen of people, they will
hmm
praise a character mostly because of how hot they are.
and sadly, that's what sells because unfortunately, people will like you based on more appearance than anything else. It doesn't matter if you're like a shitty human being or a terrible person. It's like, oh, you pretty shit, girl. I forgive you.
Like Makima. You know what I'm talking about. Chainsaw Man
Oh yeah,
character.
oh yeah, girl from Fire Force, right?
Well, it was that's a T Takim. I said I hate the fact I used to say these names and now all of a sudden now I can't. But the girl who's supposed to have like kind of cat flames, like Takima, or
hmm
yeah, she she there was when you first meet her, you think, oh, she's like a pseudonym type character. Let's see where this goes. But then it kind of feels like they kind of like he kind of dropped it like after a couple chapters. Like we see her again, she kind of still has that. But then after that, it seems like they kind of got rid of it really quickly. And
Yep.
then I'm like, what is her personality? Because it feels like she's just kind of here. Because Maki has a
Yeah.
personality, Sister has a personality, even the other girl who works, who's like a leader, has a personality. But there, it feels like it's just there's nothing really here. It feels pretty basic.
That's the sad thing about it, right? And it's like it doesn't matter how basic or surface level she is. It's like a lot of people are just gonna be like, "Oh, well, she's hot, bro. She's cute. She means well." Like, that's cool. What's her personality like? What's her favorite color even? What does she do?
The homegirl, even got a power up later on. I'm like, oh, okay, let's see where this character goes now. And I think she used it once. I'm not even sure she was in a real, like, I can't remember if she was in a group fight when that happened or she had like a one-on-one fight.
Hmm.
And I can't remember, which is bad because I can remember a lot of other characters doing some cool shit, but I can't remember her doing anything cool except for when
So
she got her power up.
exactly, and you know about that now sort of kind of famous panel where she's just like, this is why I get naked, or this is why I strip, or whatever the fuck it is,
You
something like
mean
that.
like
Where it's like,
you mean when he's trying? You mean when the manga was butthurt, or when he was giving her pass and trying to make us have sympathy?
yeah, that.
Which one? Is it both, or is it which?
It's pretty much like pretty much both, because they're kind of interchangeable. Because like when he kind of like gave like an in story explanation on why she's like that, I'm just like, that still doesn't justify why she doesn't have a personality.
Yeah, it wasn't like if she had a more good, like if she was stuck to the Tsuneri thing, then I'd be like, oh, that's why you act like that because
Hmm.
people have made fun of you, ridiculed you for it, so you're a little bit more mean to people. And I kind of stuck with that, but you have people being nice to you, but you're still mean to them, but genuinely you're like, thank you for being nice to me. I do care. Like Noelle from Black Clover, which is how you write a
Yeah,
Tsuneri character, because she makes fun of everyone. But, and
exactly.
then the butt hurt chapter. Here's the thing I have said before, because I think we've talked about it before on this podcast.
Hmm.
This could have worked, and I get the message, and I agree with the message. Blood is not a bad thing, but it would have worked better with a better character. Because I feel like
Exactly.
you're doing this because your butt hurt. That people did not like her character.
Nah,
Because, yeah,
yeah, it's
it
pretty much hit on
felt
the
like she was
head.
just fan service. And I've seen anime can make fan service characters, but they at least give them a personality.
It's just so it's just so tiring, and it's just actually not tiring. It's boring. That's what I could say. It's like, if you're just lewd to be lewd, I get it. But if you're just boring and lewd, then it's like, I'm sorry, the lewdness can't save you. It's like, and it's also just like, there's also this like other manga that also did the same thing. Not like a butthurt thing like that author did, but it's more just the fact that it's it's just more the fact that it was like so surface level that even though it has everything I love, like muscular anime women and all that stuff, it could not save the lackluster story or just basic characters. I think it was
Oh,
called like Red Hood or something.
oh yeah. I like that one, though. I was okay with that. Also, this brings into my point about more of the West, the whole West versus East culture, is how a
Hmm.
lot of people don't. I don't mean to say a lot, but like there are people who don't get the whole editorial thing, and that's on both sides of the community.
Hmm.
Where I'm not sure if you might be able to find it, but you should look up the original story what Red Hood was going to be. And a lot of people when they found it was like, that sounds cooler, but it was changed because his editor was like, that sounds bad. You should change it. And
Jeez.
even then, I think the part where they're on the boat was supposed to be different too, if I'm correct. I might be wrong about that one, but I know the fact of what the original manga was supposed to be was definitely changed by his editor.
That
And
wow.
Horikoshi, in case people don't know, the guy who made My Hero, his
Yep.
favorite, one of his favorite characters is Mina, the acid
Nice.
girl. But, and I know a lot of people be like, oh well, he's sexist just because he doesn't use characters that much, even though he kind of does, because Uchaka and then Mirko has gotten more of a boost recently. But
Finally. But yeah.
um, his it was I saw this and I'm not sure if it's true. I should maybe look it up one day. I mean, I probably
Hmm.
should. But he apparently wanted to have her in more stuff, but his editor was like, no.
Bruh.
So
Nah, that's true.
just like comic editors, manga editors also manga like like how comic people have to deal with editors. Japanese editors also are not great. They probably have some good decisions, Like with
Yeah.
Dragon Ball, where he's like, "Hey, those two characters look bad. Make 17 and 18." You got the best characters I ever loved in Dragon Ball out of that. This is,
Honestly, same.
but then
Just,
you get the sins of what I've brought up of kind of missed opportunities.
no, yeah, because like you said, like with those editors and everything, like, bro, mangakas aren't as free, y'all, and that's the sad truth. It's like, oh, they could do whatever they want, they could write whatever original stories they want within reason. It's still a business. You can't do everything you want, bro. I'm even starting to notice. I actually kind of like looked it up as we were talking about it and everything. It turns out even like doujinshi artists have to deal with that too, or like hentai artists. It's like, yeah, you could draw that, you could write that, but don't do this either. Like, bro, there's even restrictions in porn, and that just says a lot.
That does say a lot. Jesus Christ, I don't. I mean, yeah, there's restrictions in porn, but fictional porn has restrictions too. Oh my god.
Right? Bro,
Like, yeah, who
nobody
knows
is
how
safe.
many manga, how many, I don't know how many doshas I've probably seen that could have turned out differently.
Exactly. Like,
That's wild to
gone
me.
either way worse or way better.
Also, another crazy thing is how people get upset with Western censor stuff, which I get it. It's like, yeah, you shouldn't censor and stuff like that. It's this artist's original creation. You should keep it the way it
Mhm.
is. You shouldn't change the dialogue to, for some reason, fit our culture. But, but
I mean,
Japan also has the same issue.
no, yeah, because
Because if you, oh, sorry.
no, you go ahead. Sorry.
The one character I have on mine is Bleach, and it's
Mhm.
Hannibal. And her
Yeah,
costume, at least the top of it, is 100% different from the one in the manga.
I see.
And also, if you take into account how manga has pretty much is like there's zero qualm showing violence.
Oh yeah.
But if you look at some anime, they really dumb down the violence. That's why I didn't like the fairy tale anime too much, because the fact that they cut out a lot, they pretty much got rid of blood for some reason.
Oh yeah. No, no, that's actually true.
Like there's a
That to
really
that.
badass
I'm
scene
sorry.
in
Go
one
ahead.
of the but there was a really badass scene in one of the arcs where you see the characters get up all beaten and bloody, and it's a
Hmm.
really cool panel because it really is cool. It makes them look like badasses, like they're not giving up. But when you see it again, it doesn't have the same feeling because there's that blood's not there.
Right. Nah. And yeah, no, I get that. Cause in in like I don't know if you remember the anime Muscle and everything.
Which what anime was it?
It was like Ultimate Muscle. It was like that
Oh
superhero
yeah,
wrestling anime. Yeah, that or like it's called Kinnikuman and everything. I finally read the manga myself, and holy shit, this was just brutal. Like brutal as hell. It is Mortal Kombat style of like fatalities and death and all that stuff. They were straight up beating. They were straight up killing each other in that ring, as opposed to like the anime. And this was not a 4 kids thing or nothing. No, they barely had to censor anything except for the lettering for some reason. Everything in that anime, uncut and everything, was just accurate because they just fought each other, bruised each other up. That's cool. The manga, nah, people died, brutally died. So I'm like, well, shit, damn.
I
This
do.
took me for a while right there.
Oh man, yeah. I do remember this one. I even have the. I know recently I've like for certain podcast stuff I always save certain things so I can remember
Mhm.
them. And there was one. I have two different ones, but there was one artist because couple like I think it was last month or a few months back, a someone went and edited over Ryoko, like the girl from Kill a Kill, like
Yeah.
re-edited her costume where it's the full body costume. And I was like,
Oh
that's pretty
yeah.
good. And a lot of other people were like, actually, this still works. You just change the coloring here and there, but it pretty works.
Hmm.
But quote for quote, there was an artist I follow and like, but I didn't agree with him. I even told him I didn't agree with him. Was they said, but it doesn't look bad. It amazes me that there are people who enjoy censorship so much. It's not about whether it looks good or not. I think it's an author if you design. Oh wait, no, sorry, I messed up. I think that's an author if you
Hmm.
design something. It is. Oh, by the way, I know if if it's a hypocritical case. And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, what, dude? Why do you think people are saying they're censoring it? Like, do you think all of a sudden people are like, who agree, who like the design, are just automatically censorship, like pro censorship? No, that's not. That's like an ignorant way to look at people.
No, yeah, and that's actually kind of thing. Because like, here's the thing. I know certain people always have problems where it's like certain dubs or like subs kind of just like change like the dialogue up.
Yeah,
Most of the time, it's not censorship; it's simplifying certain things.
yeah,
Because like, let's be real. We a lot of us, even if we love anime or watch in Japanese, we don't understand Japanese. We're not gonna understand certain lingos or words or all that stuff. That's why they kind of just like Japanese slang is not the same as American slang. So it's like whenever there's like an English dub or subtitle that's just like, oh dang bro, you're acting sus. It's unintentionally funny because it's like, and I feel like we shouldn't get mad at that. Like they're just adding their own version of it because we're not going to know about what it was originally. Let's keep it 100% with ourselves. Most of us aren't going to care the next day. We're not going to we're not just going to learn some Japanese and use some like Japanese slang or whatever with our coworkers or friends because otherwise they're just going to be looking at us weird like,
actually,
what did
you might do it with your friends if they're also watching stuff.
Oh hell yeah, they get like, they're in on the joke. If you just have like casual friends or even just like with other people, it's like, bro, I don't know what the fuck you just said.
And I remember, actually, that reminds me. One of my friends told me about how he was back. This was back in high school. He said I think he was getting more into Naruto. Like he was getting
Hmm.
really into anime. And I remember he told me he accidentally called one of his friends. Like he called his friend name, but then added coon, and then he realized, wait, what did I do that? Oh no. He was like, his friend's like, what? What are you calling me? He's like, oh no.
Bruh, man, and that's kind of just how it is. Like yeah, there's censorship, and then there's just simplifying shit. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with trying to like simplify certain things so like the translation can work better. Because hell, even the games that we got or animes in general, they had some long ass titles, and to get like the accurate version of it to fit all that in one screen, nah. No, we could just simplify that a little bit. That works better personally.
Oh man, that's
It's easier to
just,
type in anyways or look it up.
yeah. It just was weird to me when it came to that because it was also. I know they were being saying, oh well, it might be a little bit hypocritical. I'm like, no, it is 100% hypocritical because you're an artist.
Mm-hmm.
You should know people have this choices on what designs they like.
No,
Because
yeah.
someone could come to you and be like, I don't really care for your designs too much. I think you're a little. I think it should be like that. Like just God, I'm trying to word it. Little like they'll say like I think you should do it a little bit like this, or I see it a little bit like this. Like I see it from my point of view, kind of thing. And I'm like, as an artist, you should know that. Like, you probably have seen designs that you don't like, but other people do. So saying these people approach citizenship because they like the design is really stupid. Because I'm pretty sure you've seen designs that other people don't like that you like.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Well,
that's not cool.
no, yeah. And it's like, I'm not Mr. Fix Your Designs. I'm more Miss. Hey, here's my interpretation of said character. I
Yeah,
like that over that, you know. So, like I said, it really just depends. And again, like I said, not all pro censorship, not all needs to be changed, if at all. So it's really just a slippery slope of what you want and what you're actually looking. So
I know
it's like
there.
that.
I know there was just one person I used to follow, but I muted them, and they
Hmm.
used to make really good YouTube videos. But I don't know what happened to them in between COVID. It just, I think it's another one of those issues. But I think something they kind of just cracked because I think they were on Twitter too much, where they kind of just stopped you having
Yep.
a filter and they started being more like weird, especially with their boyfriend. I didn't like the art that your boyfriend drew, even though it's good art. I did not like the word that was with it. I don't care if he's
Up,
black. That wasn't cool.
bro. Here we go.
You might know who I'm talking about because you probably saw the art
I
of
probably did
one particular person getting choked and they were saying the hard R with it.
Yep, that's it.
That person
That,
had some good YouTube videos, but then I saw that I was like, "What the?" And then I seen some of their recent. I'm like, "Oh, oh, you went through one of those phases of you. I think you were on Twitter too long, and I think they've changed you as a person."
good God, I didn't even know they had a Man.
Here's the thing: they make okay. I should word it. They make some good, decent, good to decent to bad YouTube videos, and the bad ones are more of my opinions because I feel like it's kind of stupid how they say, especially when they say God of War is not as grown up as you think it is, and I'm like, shut the
Here we
fuck up.
go. Jeez. But yeah.
But they decided to talk about the World's End with You, Neo, I think the last name was. I can't remember, and I felt bad because I played and beat that game. I loved it. But they
Mm-hmm.
were complaining about the dub, and they were saying, "Oh, they shouldn't sound like this. They should be using lingo from American." And I'm like, "You here's two things. One, why are you complaining about this now? After I think it was like 2 weeks after the game came out.
Wow.
Two, this game had a demo, so why didn't you complain then?
Yeah.
Three, these characters are teenagers, and they are technically in 20 what almost 2020 or 2019. They probably would use languages like this if they were speaking English.
it's, it's just so weird, bro. Because like I feel like anytime people like look at like Japanese, think like the language of God, eloquent. When in reality, they're just talking as much shit as we are. So it's like it's literally no different. It's just a whole different language.
Like
Like,
I'm
come
pretty
on.
sure some of the lingo we've made here they've picked up and used there.
Exactly. Like if you could like look at like global Twitter or anything like that, or you could just look at the translations. Of course, it's like somebody's gonna come across certain words and be like, "Huh, I could use that." It's just come on. Like eventually we're gonna get a manga. Somebody's gonna say base, and I'm gonna be here for it.
I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure there's an anime who's already done it and we just haven't seen it. Someone didn't complain
Exactly.
about it, probably.
Exactly. Uh,
I still remember when people got mad about that Squint Skate anime where the guy said, "Hello, all my." I can't remember the first part. I just said my non-binary hoes, and I was like, "That's fucking funny. That's hilarious that he said that." And I'm like, I'm more laughing, and because I find that funny, it's like that's weird, but it's funny. And then
yeah.
there was people who got mad though. It was like they're ruining anime, and then that was the one time where even people who usually get mad about stuff like that were like, "That's not that bad. I found it funny."
Oh yeah, no, because sometimes it's just like that change is gonna just add something to it. Like it might not be perfect or anything like that, but it's gonna add something to it, which was originally just like probably just a basic line. And sometimes you just need that, just add some shit to it because just add something to the dialogue even. Because sometimes you need that.
Yeah, it was just
So look at those stories.
it was just more funny. It was just like, oh, that was weird, but it worked because I laughed at it. And I'm not sure what the original sub was, but I still found it funny
Exactly.
because I'm not gonna take it seriously.
Exactly. It's like it's not a really key part of the story. It's not really a character error thing. It's just like this person just added something funny to like a pretty just simple dialogue. And it worked. Got people laughing, got me to laugh. Whatever. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not doing stuff like what Four Kids used to do, or
Oof.
um, what's the other one? It was Four Kids. And there was another one that was pretty. Oh, Pokemon, where they changed the thing to Jelly Donut. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Rice Ball is like a thing, or however you call it, is a thing that actually people can actually eat in America. So I'm pretty sure you can call it what it is.
Yeah, you could literally eat that stuff like nowadays. It's like I'm pretty sure you could look up recipes of it even at the time. So yeah.
I mean, there are like Asian restaurants, so I'm just surprised they did that. And I'm like, I don't think a kid's stupid. I think even a parent will look at that and be like, they might know the not know the name, but they might know what it looks like. I think I saw that in
Yeah,
a
I
restaurant
mean,
before.
it even got weird when they were just like get rid of the text of anything, even if it was in English. Like, huh? Okay, I mean, you could at least just like add different, like signs to it or like add lettering to it. But okay, kids can't read apparently.
Yeah, yeah, when we were kids, we are just, I mean, we were stupid. I mean, everyone's a kid and they're stupid. We were super
Yeah,
stupid apparently, though.
exactly. Oh man,
There's
but yeah, that's
another
it.
person who I have. I showed this to one of my friends a long time ago, but it was for some reason he got mad at like the Mary Jane version of Spider-Man, and this relates to more of the whole West Culture War video games,
Oh boy.
and he was
What
like
happened?
like Spider-Man, and still hate this Mary Jane, this little girl of a woman with a little boy's body, just constant bitching, and I need for validation. God, what did they do to MJ in this game? And I'm like, did we play the same Spider-Man game? Because when
Bro.
did she need validation? Also, let me tell you right now, the guy who said a little boy body. I'm like, dude, you have no reason to talk. I followed you at one point. Nigga, I like your art, but you've drawn some stuff too, so you shouldn't be crapping on little boy stuff, man. You gotta, you don't have a leg to stand on with that one, man.
Good lord, man. The hypocrisy is strong with this one.
Oh yeah, it was hypocrisy. It 100% was hypocrisy. I think I stopped following you after that because I'm like, you're a fucking hypocrite, my dude.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you just gotta learn to draw the line. With like, man, I like your art, but why you gotta be such a douche?
I was like, just post your art, don't talk. I mean, that's rude to say, but at the same time, it's like, my brain's like, I like your art, and I would have liked you as a person if you didn't say some stuff.
Nah, yeah,
It's not that hard. It's not that hard. I mean, you can say your opinions, but sometimes even other people might criticize your opinion, so be ready.
exactly. It's like freedom of speech doesn't keep you from freedom of how people are gonna.
Not freedom of consequences.
Exactly.
Because I was like, who boy?
Nah, I feel that it was kind of like the whole thing. Well, not a whole thing, but like this is something I just noticed after there's like this one artist I used to follow for a long since I was literally in my like early teens. His name was Bleed Man. He did like those, Powerpuff Girls D comics or Grim Tales comics and everything.
Oh
Those like
yeah, he still
yeah,
does
his
that.
stuff. Oh yeah, he's still doing that, and I'm just like, you know
Mind
what?
you, it's like we've both stories have been on the same arc since I was in high school.
Right? This is crazy, man. And like, I really like his art. I'm not gonna sit here and act like it's not good shit. And it's like, even when Grim Tales got weird, I'm gonna say that. But
I mean, it was already weird when we had the whole, but it was pretty much within the same arc. Oh, your sister's into you, and I'm like,
it's like, what?
what?
Like, huh? And that's just crazy. And it's like, I was reading like a lot of hip stuff, and it's like, you know what? It's kind of just good to come back to this like wild shit. But sadly, when he kind of just opened his mouth about like personal issues, some stuff that I feel like he maybe shouldn't be talking about on his DeviantArt account.
Oh, that's why I never read journals.
Exactly. And it's like I usually just check them for like commissions and stuff because I'm like, all right, which artist is gonna get my money today? But when like the journal when it was like I was like scrolling through like one of like everybody's journals and everything, I saw his and he's just like, I just think maybe trans people are groomers, and I'm just like, you know, I was having a good day till I saw that.
Oh,
Look, man, you got great art, but I think you need to just
stop.
stick to the art. Yeah, just stop and just stick to the art. Like, you can have your opinions, but by God, you shouldn't air it out so freely like that.
Oof, oof.
Good Lord.
Oh
And
man,
that topic of itself is like a whole other can of worms. I ain't even gonna get
I get
after
that.
after seeing that. I'm just like, nah, man, nah. I'm gonna go play now. Hope Grim Tales does really well, despite how insane it is.
The last time I remember reading it, I think he was trying to backpedal on the whole weird incest thing, and trying to say that the junior actually wasn't Graham's kid. It was like more of like, it looks like it was a stillborn baby they took, and then turned
Mm-hmm.
it. And I'm like, you know, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. At least it's like say, okay, they're not related. They're not related.
Bro.
And I'm like, I'll take it. It's still a little weird that it started off like this. I feel like that should have been brought up a long time ago. But fine.
It's like, hey, what are you doing, step bro? Like, oh, now I'm step bro. Man,
Oh
that's
man.
just wild to me.
And I know there was one guy I used to follow who was an artist, also on DeviantArt, and he was pretty okay. He's a little weird. We had a conversation one time on RP.
Mm-hmm.
Sent some stuff. I didn't care. I'm just like, okay. And I look back. I'm like, man, maybe I shouldn't have said, oh no, it's cool, man. Just send me whatever. And I was like, oh wait, that's what you meant. Type of art. I'm like, okay. I didn't know what that term meant. Now I know. And now I also know. Never send me that. Please, ever send me that. But he later on went down the road of kind of looks like I don't know what happened to him. But I think he had some mental issues, but he went really dark and like
Mm-hmm.
really. I know you're hearing me cuss a lot. I don't mean to do that, but when I'm excited and really like into something, I'll do that. I don't
No,
mean
no,
to,
no,
but
you
it's
good.
just
Go
a
on.
habit. But how vulgar he was about the thing he didn't like about Steven Universe Future, like the movie
Yeah.
one, was really bad. Like really bad to the point of, dude, it's a cartoon. Chill out.
Bro,
Like the
man.
words he used to describe like the mayor character was like, dude, that's you're treating this like they killed your dog and your family.
Bro, if you coming out the crib like that and you gotta put the bear dog, that shit.
It's a cartoon, my guy. Like calm down.
No, no. It's it's actually kind of reminds me of a conversation that looking back, I don't know how I in to this convo with this guy. It was on DeviantArt as well, and he literally used to go off about. He used to have this character called the Crimson Conservative, and when they said conservative, they meant conservative in the old ways, as in
Was it?
very.
So let me get this. Let me. I don't mean to stop you, but can I
Oh,
get
go
the
ahead.
confirmation that it's not a parody?
This is not parody.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Keep you can go, sir. Keep going, my sir.
No, it's just like I be thinking about this at the time and everything. Cause like at first, okay, it's just parody, or he's trying to do satire, and it's just like no, this is a true blue all American conservative hero, and it's like she speaks in old timey ways, saying like oh I'm a like oh I'm a vote Democrat and everything. It's like okay, that's fine. You make like Democrat jokes and all that stuff. That's fine. That makes sense. But then he started talking about actual races, and he uses the terms, all the racial terms that they used to use, like all the slurs, anyways. And it's just like, this is your character, huh? It's like, and he's trying to justify it by simply saying like, oh, you see, this is my characters. This is like just my character speaking. I don't actually believe in all this stuff.
Here's the
It's kind of sounding like you do.
here's the thing when it comes to that stuff. It's always if it doesn't have a good punchline, it's not a joke.
And that's the problem. He tried to make it sound like a joke, but it really just sounded like him just trying to make an excuse for like to say like racial slur.
Which is
I just wanted,
which
and
is a
maybe it's
lot.
because of my, it's kind of like my sick sense of humor, but maybe I just want to just see how far this would go. Like, okay, what else about her? It's like, well, she used to own slaves, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. You have a good one, sir.
I mean, at least it was used to be. I don't. I'm kidding. I don't. People don't actually think I'm being serious. No, that's bad.
No, because like I really was just wanting to see how it goes because I just want a good laugh out of this. But it's just like looking back, the experience was funny, but being in that situation at the moment, I'm like, wow, this is really bad.
Yeah, man, that's not great at all. That's not great
And
at
I did not
all.
have the heart to tell him how bad it was. I just simply left without saying a word, and I never spoke to this person ever again.
Oof,
Good
oof.
God.
To kind of like revolve around comics again, there is one comic that came out that's like I think called Common America, and I like the art and I
Mm,
see people hype it up. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll read this, but it's hard for me to really. I want to get into it, but it's really hard for me to get into it because I'm trying to make sure not to go in there with a bias. The problem is the people who praise it, but be like, "This is why comics suck. This is because look at this. This is a real comic," and I'm like,
Oh,
because it's like, because from what I can, Comic America is more of referencing like kind of has a manga style to it, like more of an anime style to it, and I'm
yeah.
like, okay, yeah, that looks nice, but then those people say that, and it's like. You're poisoning the well. You want people to read this, but saying stuff like that to comic fans might not get them on your side to try and give this person more money and give it more credit.
I swear. It's just I saw this whole thing, and this is something I've also kind of read. Never make your work out of spite. That's one thing I try to encourage a lot of people not to do. Because here's the thing: when you're doing stuff like that, because there was also another hero that was surprisingly similar, who had more of a traditional like Western comic book superhero comic style. I think her name was what was it? Oh yeah, Patriotica, and yeah, already the name is kind of on the nose, and
I think
it
you're
looks like
unlocking like a memory in my head, and I think it's coming, and I don't know what it is, and now I'm scared.
no, yeah, like because like I remember seeing that, but anytime it's brought up in conversation, I don't like how it's always brought up because they're just like SJW Marvel wouldn't understand how to make characters like this. SJW Marvel is afraid to try characters like this, and I'm just like, bro, SJW Marvel doesn't even know what the fuck this is. I don't even know what this is, and again, it just feels like when stuff like this is made out of spite to like get to like quote unquote beat the comic book industry or the modern comic book industry, like it's one of the reasons why I just can't stand Comicsgate because or Comicsgate people because like the majority of them literally just have a bunch of characters that are just unfinished or ripped off of like other established heroes. It's like you could be creative. I know you have it in you, but
And
you just
I'm like,
choose to.
oh no, go
Oh, is
ahead.
up?
Go ahead. I'll say what I say afterwards.
No, I was just gonna say like basically just like you have the potential to do something great, but you're so stuck on trying to beat this one company instead
Yeah,
of doing your own thing. Because you're doing this out of spite. You're just ripping off half their characters while making them kind of worse. Like it's on some Rob Liefeld 90s type beat. And even Rob Liefeld would look at that like, damn,
and it's
this
not
is
even like
ass.
a good type of like ripoff where it's like an interesting idea, like as a twist on that, like the idea of this character's power set. It's like just
No.
like almost sometimes beat for beat, just the same character, just
It's
legally
literally just
distinct.
like literally just the same characters with different color palettes. Some of them are even like fusions. All right. I remember seeing this one comic book cover where it was just like two Catwomen, one Batman without ears, and a Hulk with and a red Hulk with glasses and a balding head. Like he looks like a fucking Melvin, bro.
Actually they could have gotten sued for that because I think they've had like almost similar Hulk designs as that. There was actually a Hulk somewhat like that, so they could have actually gotten sued for that.
Exactly. And they just look so unfinished and stupid. Some of them are just straight up look like porn comics. I'm not gonna lie to you. And not the fun kind. This is just the explicit, ugly type shit.
Oh
And I'm
man,
like, man, you could have had something here, but you just fumbled the bag because of how petty you are.
yeah, man, it's just like oof. But when I look at like the scenes from what I've seen of Common America, I'm like, okay, people genuinely like this, so there's something to it. And even I haven't seen anything. People have never retweeted anything that like them saying something offensive or stupid, so it is something there. And I'm like, I'll give this a shot. But I hate the fact that only comic people who I know who read comics and actually talk about them have not read this. So I am going in there blind because I don't trust my own mutuals who talk about it or anyone else until I have to give my own opinion on that one.
Nah, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, even I got some mutuals who are kind of like that, and I'm just like, all right, so I want you to tell it to me in the most unbiased way possible. At least he's better than was better than like Western stuff. So I'm just like, okay, stop you right there. Not interested.
Yeah, you
Also,
ruined it.
like, and it's like, and also like, if you do read it, please tell me how you can read it because I've looked it up and I just cannot find this anywhere outside of like Amazon recommendations, and it's a Kindle, and I don't feel like opening that up.
Yeah, I don't. That's the one thing I don't like. It's a Kindle, and I'm like, if it was actually pan, I would buy it. I would buy it covered. But I don't really even use Kindle. So
Exactly.
it
It's my
sucks.
physical copy, bro.
Man, I know a site where I don't have to pay, but I don't. But I mean, I don't suggest people doing that. Pay for your comics and manga, but there's
Hmm.
times where you're not sure, so it might be good to before you buy, try reading it somewhere else first, and then decide.
Exactly.
Do you want to give your time and money to this?
Again, y'all, support all comics unless it's unavailable in your area and you badly have to follow like certain desperate, measures and everything. But other than that, support all comics officially.
Yeah, but
Damn.
oh, yeah, that's just not great. It's one of those things of like, don't poison the well. Just say it's good. Just be like, hey, there's some good critiques here and why it's like pretty great. Here's maybe like some criticism, but it's not bad. That's all I need. That's all I want. I don't need
Exactly.
no culture war nonsense added into it. Just tell me why it's good.
Like, homie, I didn't ask all that. I just want to know if it was good or bad.
And like I said, that relates back to what I've said earlier about the whole like when it comes to cartoons and even anime sometimes of how they you sometimes don't give like good enough explanations.
Hmm. It's just it's just so weird because like I don't I just want like recommend. So it's one of the reasons why I'm very what's the word I'm looking for? Well, pretty much just very careful when it comes to like me trying to like ask for recommendations on certain things, especially when it comes to like comic books and all that stuff. Because granted, love a lot of my mutuals, but at the same time, some of y'all need to kind of just chill out and just let me know. Just get to the point. Don't tell me that better this. I just want recommendations. I want to know what's good, what's popping. I'm old. I'm 25, bro. I don't know what the young kids are into these days. Shit, especially
Hey,
when it comes to anime. I'm still stuck watching Great Teacher Onizuka and Cowboy.
I mean, Cowboy Bebop is a classic, man. Everyone's gonna be stuck on that.
Hell yeah.
But I mean, at least in my feed, I think I'm not sure. Like, you've started seeing in my feed of like, of course, you probably seen it like of how I do recommend stuff where I'm like, hey, this is pretty good. This has been a pretty good series so far. Here's like small synopsis, or me just saying, hey, this is pretty good. Here's some images, stuff like that. So at least you can get
Uh
like a taste of what's going on.
Exactly. So you definitely got good recommendations. Certainly bought one of them with the Dark Knight's death metal. Cause look at that cover. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I remember people were shitting on that because it's like it's so stupid. This is not serious at all. It's like this is too wild and crazy. I'm like, I think that's the point.
It's like damn guys, damn. It's like wild craziness in like a comic. I bet I bet you it's probably going to be ass cheeks. Meanwhile, the manga. Oh my gosh, guys, this is so wild and crazy, and it kind of makes no sense, but you don't need to because the art's so good. Looks at manga, man. I don't know.
That kind of
I
happened to me
definitely
with Soul Leveling after a while. I love that.
right.
I like that manga, but after a while, it was like, okay, where's this going? And I'm like, I'll recommend this to people for the art. That's about it. I get crucified for what I said, but I don't care.
No, no, by all means, speak your truth.
Oof. Yeah, I don't. That's another example of like they care more about what's kind of drawn instead of what's actually there. Like what's in it. What's the story? What's the characters like?
Like, hey man, it's just like that. Like people just care, just base things more on appearance than anything else. And it's like I'll admit I'm like that sometimes myself. I
Yeah.
see I see a good character design. I'm like, okay, I like this. I'm into this. What's this story about? And it's not that interesting, and I regret getting invested in this series, or at least let alone buying a comic based on it. And
Yeah.
hey, that happens sometimes.
Yeah. Uh, I know there's one controversy I want to go into that happened. That was like the whole East Western thing, and that was the Superboy controversy. Like not Superboy, but
Woo!
Superman, like John Kent, when they
Oh,
drew that cover of him at a protest or something like that.
good lord. I I don't know if or when that comic came out. If it did, I
Oh yeah,
probably
it's
gotta
been
check
out.
it out.
It came out
Okay,
like a while, like I think a couple months back. I think it came out in like January. I think.
okay, I gotta read that because like There's one thing I gotta get across, y'all. This is literally John Kent. This is Clark's son. All right, this is Superman's son. This is not Clark himself. This is not Superman. He is still with Lois. He is still straight. He is doing his own thing. He is just supporting his bi son. That's what they do. Just let that be. We gotta get that across right now. Please stop sending stupid Facebook posts saying that's not your Superman.
Actually, big.
Please.
He's not. Superman doesn't know. He's like in space right now, so he probably will. He'll find out when he comes back. But Superman's gonna not care anyway.
Well, yeah, that too. Man, I just okay. So like, have you read it? Because I haven't. I don't know.
I didn't read it. I was just more annoyed by the fact I was right about the cover, where I'm like, yeah, comic covers sometimes have misleading covers, or the cover doesn't really relate to what's gonna happen in the book, and I'm like,
Right.
and then when people got mad about that, I'm like, no shit. If you're in the comic community, you would know this.
No, yeah, that's kind of one of the things I've learned about when it to like comic book covers. It's like you remember those old school Superman comics where it was just like they had these most outlandish covers ever, and it has nothing to do with the main plot.
Yeah, and sadly, they still do that for some reason.
That is so weird. Because I actually did fall for that one time when it was just like they had like this one cover of like I think it was like Earth 2 or something, and they had like Power Girl kissing Mr. Terrific. I was like, yeah, let's go, my boy's getting some, and then that's just not the case at all.
Yeah.
Fuck.
They did that also with X-23 making out with like the young Cyclops. But
Yeah.
then she ends up with like the young Angel, and I was like, what the fuck? What was the point of that cover? We were hinting at that. I'd be like, might have been interesting. Could have been a new twist on that. That'd be kind of funny. But nope, they didn't do that, and they went with Angel. I'm like, that's random.
Like, y'all really clickbait me on this shit. I hate it here.
And yeah, comics have done that for years, so it's just like it comes with the territory. And what I didn't like, especially if I mentioned from my own mutuals, was the people who, out of spite, drew their own characters doing stuff in the cover or making fun of Super like John. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not you making art for art. That's you being just spiteful or trying to prove some type of point.
Good God.
And
It's
I don't
like-
know. Man.
It's a rinse and repeat situation. I feel like it's like I've gotten to the point where it's like it's really just like this now, where it's like if you show anything that's quote unquote progressive or anything like that, or like even when it's genuine, there's just gonna be that one fucker that's just complaining about it. And we can't even judge it critically anymore because some guy's just gonna cry woke or SJW or all these other buzzwords, and it's just that's it. That's the argument. That's the criticism. Nothing else there.
I mean, the criticisms are you're SAW, you're a Nazi, you're racist, you're homophobic, or what's the other ones? Like the other ones you've said, like woke and this and that. And just like if like it's like you like anything, you're gonna be called any buzzword from A to side just because you're a different opinion.
And it sucks, and it's like, no, well, I don't think anything's gonna beat the time I got called a terrorist. But hey, it'd be like that sometimes.
Hey man, I got called not that black because why was I called that? Was it? I think it was over that girl who cosplayed who went to like, yeah, I think I even told you this story on the podcast before. It was the girl who,
that's one.
yeah, the girl who was white, and went to like in essence I don't know how they would call it. Like, I get it's like mostly it was ran by black people, and I think that's good, that's cool. But I think it's weird for people to call it it's like independently like a black con, and I'm like, it's ran by black people, and it's like helped to say, hey, the black community likes anime too. But it's one of those things like, no, it's for everyone. Like, everyone's here to go in, because if they didn't want white people in it, they wouldn't invite them. And I was saying how. And there was people upset with the fact that she shouldn't have won because she's white, and I'm like, no, she won because she had a good costume. She had a good costume. There's no brainwashing here or anything. And I remember people were like, oh, you're not black. You're not black enough. Look at you. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Man, shit.
Yeah, I got like two deaths. I got like two people telling I should die over that, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
Damn, y'all, what the fuck? Good God.
All I said, just don't be assholes. Like, she's not doing anything wrong to you. You don't even know
She just,
her.
she just won.
It's
She just won. She got the award.
it sounds like
Yes,
you.
granted.
Hmm?
I was just gonna say yes. Granted, if it was me, if it was a player, all five of them would have won. But that's just me though. But yeah, no, I get you, man.
It was just like it's just like you guys are mad because you guys either you can't sew or you realize you couldn't cool of a cosplay like
Exactly.
that was a trip for me with that one. And I was like, man. And I really am trying to remember what. The funny thing is, I'm trying to remember what made me want to do this podcast, but I can't because it was an
Hmm.
event. Because I even messaged you the same day it happened, and I can't remember what the event was that happened. I know it was definitely over. I think it was either a video game or anime it happened over. It might.
Shit, there's like shit. There's a lot to say. Them
It
it's
might have
moments
been.
like that.
It might have been the KOF one. I'm not sure. Because I remember just being
Like
annoyed that day, and I was just like, you know what? Fuck it.
it's just weird because like I said, Japan and its progressive ideas either go one of two ways. It could be very well mean, but it's good, or it could be very, very not what, or it could just go really wrong, and everybody's just gonna react in the worst way possible. Especially if it's like a LGBT thing.
Hmm. I have a question for you. It was like, are you really close to your bike, or is it because like you cut out like a for some reason? I wasn't sure if that was on my end, but I never see my thing go down. I'm not sure if you're cutting if it's something on your end or not, or Discord's being
It might
weird.
it might just be me because I'm not gonna lie, kind of a mixed bag right now.
Oh, okay. Because I kept
Because
trying to
I'm
wonder.
trying
I'm
to
like,
I'm
is my computer or is it like what's going on here? That's why I had to ask eventually because I'm like, is something going on? Is something wrong?
Yeah, nah. This is a struggle with like living. Lie to you.
Like you actually cut out really bad. I heard
Exactly.
living, I heard living, and then it just ended with, and then you like, it felt like I had one of those moments of like a scene jump in a cartoon or something where it ends with you saying, "And that's how I saved Christmas," and you're like, "What?"
No, I was just saying like this is like the struggle of like living in the woods because like my service is like a mixed bag. It's like in the daytime, it's completely fine. Nighttime, not so much.
Oh, that happened to me for a little bit, and I didn't even live in the woods. I live in the west side of stuff, and that happened to me.
Damn.
But no, but I get it. That's why I wanted to ask just in case, because I
No,
wasn't
no, I
sure if it was
appreciate
like
it.
something. But well, it might have been the KF one because I remember even sending you like the guy who talked about it and how he was saying, "Oh, I had like both racist and SJWs coming at me for my opinion." And I'm like, dude, your opinion came off as an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
If you worded it differently, like, "Hey, I'm really happy Japan has respected this other culture, and then I get the black character. That's really cool." Like, it's not that hard to be kind of chill about it, but you decide to throw the culture war in there, and it's just like, dude, that's why people got annoyed with you. And yeah, there, of course, yeah, people who are racist got at you, and the people who are crazy, like SJW got you. Of course, that's fine, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there are some people who probably have like criticisms like me or you who are like, dude, you could have worded this better, or what are you talking about, man? It seems like you're kind of fetishizing a little bit.
Good God.
Like
Damn.
criticisms, and he put those probably in there with that, and I'm like, dude, come on now.
Criticisms are just like I said, I want us to get to a point where like we can criticize, we can say we don't like something, but we gotta stop using these stupid buzzwords because otherwise either A, nobody's gonna listen to you, or you just don't know how stupid you sound when you say those words.
I mean, the sad thing
Like
is the people are gonna listen to him. It's just gonna be the people who are just all in that echo chamber together.
exactly, like look at Quentin reviews. Sorry, not Quentin reviews. I meant to say what's his
I
fucking
mean,
name?
you're
The
kind of still
quartering.
right after what some of the stuff he said.
Yeah, that too.
The quartering's
Like the
worse.
quartering Quentin reviews.
Yeah, I mean, quartering is worse though.
He is, and it's just like I just
That's why
I
I
get to
tweeted
a
that
point where
thing of like, okay, just straight up say you hate women. It's not that hard at this point, man.
exactly like bro, just, and
Because even
it's
racists own
so
up to when they're
tiring.
racist.
Exactly like, bruh, everybody's having a good. We've had this shit before. I don't know what happened between like then and now, where it's like anytime a person of color, God forbid she's a woman, just shows up in a movie and all of a sudden it is woke.
Oh my god, what you said brought up an old memory. Remember when Buzz Lightyear movie first was announced? And they showed that
Yes.
black kid. I think that's what started it. I think that's the thing that made me want to do this with you. I think that was it.
Yeah, no, cause yeah, there was that black space commander lady and everything, and we did not know her by name, but all of a sudden people just automatically were just like, "It's going to be woke," or they just they for some reason thought that was going to be Mira Nova
And I'm
from like
like,
the series.
no. I'm like, even I was like, there's no other aliens around here. That's not her. They haven't shown any other aliens, so I don't think that's her.
Right.
Because if it was her, they probably would have shown the other characters from the show, from the movie slash show.
Exactly, and like it's like, and I know they confirmed her name now, since they like showed the voice actress and all that stuff. But like, yeah, she has her own unique name and everything. Forgot it, of course, but yeah, it's it's just wild, fam. I don't know. I don't know how to feel anymore.
I don't
It's
know
like I
why.
can't even be excited about this stuff.
I stay excited because I'm just like, at that point, I'm just like, whatever. If people don't like it, they don't like it. It's just like I think there was the only time I really got upset with people was the time I posted when this cool Spider-Man book was coming out called, I think it was what's it called, Web Shadows? I can't remember what it was. It was just pretty much a new retelling of the idea of Spider-Man and the Venom symbiote, or what if the symbiote actually turned him into Venom? Because
Yeah,
here's the thing, no other Spider-Man story's done that.
that's true. So yeah,
And
that's good.
I remember this one person I used to follow. I used to respect him, but I think that made me. I think her and another guy were the catalyst for me to start changing my opinion on people, and also started muting and blocking people and unfollowing people.
Mm,
But I remember she pretty much somewhat, and she, it wasn't like indirectly, but she was pretty much making fun of the book I liked, and said, I think this might be interesting. And she was like, wait, haven't I heard this before? Because the old fashioned, all comics tell the same story, even though some manga, especially in some arcs, have told similar stories. But we don't talk about that.
mm-hmm.
But and then I remember everyone dogpiled on me for that. People were
Jeez,
dogpiling. Even someone else I followed mutually made fun of that book.
damn.
And I was defending myself. I'm like, hey, that's not cool. And someone was saying, they pretty much were trying to gatekeep and saying, well, no, Spider-Man story. So I'm like, no, they haven't. Most of the time when they've tried, it's just more of, like, I remember one motherfucker was trying to say, oh, the ultimate symbiote is when he turned to Venom. I'm like, no, it didn't. He got rid of it real quick when he started freaking out. Like, right
Mm-hmm.
quick. And you showed me the image. And I remember one dude also decided to jump in and be like, well, if you look at the more recent Spider-Man books, they've have said how it influences feelings, stuff like that. And I'm like, I didn't tell him this because I didn't think about it at the time, because I just gave up because I was just so. That's one of the few times where I let them really kind of get to me because I was so upset by it. Because it was from
Mm-hmm.
someone I knew who was a mutual. That's what bothered me about it. But
I feel that.
but he tries saying, "Oh well, there's more news with this new book," and I'm like, "Dude, that book came out recently. That's not something came out a long time ago." Because I actually keep up with comics and stuff like that, and also watch some comic book people. And one guy from one comic website, YouTube called Comic Pop, he's talked about the Venom symbiote and how the whole it affects Peter's uh, emotion, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't in the comics. That was in the cartoons and movies. They did that.
Exactly.
The comics never did that.
At all.
Like at most, if he was mad, he was because he was so dead tired.
No, yeah. And you just like you said, have his freak out moments or just straight up douchebag moments, and that's because the symbiote influencing him. So, man, no, actually would have been a really actually sounds like a unique story.
Oh, it's 100%
Shit.
awesome. It's the same guy who did Spider-Man. Now I can't remember the names. It's the one where Spider-Man goes to the decade. Like the writer actually made it so Spider-Man goes through like they show what if Spider-Man if like Marvel comic moved in real time. Life
Oh yeah.
Story, that what it was.
Oh.
Life Story. The guy who
Okay.
made Life Story also wrote that.
Nice.
Also now, also a lot of people are like, also he's writing Daredevil, so a lot of people are like, go write Spider-Man for the love of God. But for
Wow.
real, that was one of those moments of annoyance, and also she's also was one of those like anti-SJWs. I know a lot of people I say are anti-SJW, they wouldn't call themselves that because they think they're above that, but I'm like, you act like it though.
Mm,
Just because you're above it does
exactly.
not mean you doesn't mean you don't act like one.
Doesn't make you better than them, buddy. Especially when you act just like them.
Yes, and that's why I just stopped interacting with people like that and I don't follow a lot of people because a lot of them really have went from somewhat being fair, like even though we might not agree, they still had some fair points stuff like that too. Now you're just being assholes to people.
All right.
Like one guy I used to follow and respect, and he was the reason why I even started being more open about my opinions and stuff like that. Had changed because there was a woman who posted about I think it was either a Hulk book or an X-Men book. It was something. It was a Marvel related book. And she's like, "Oh, I really oh, it was Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy." I don't know.
Oh.
And it was
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
and it was just them making out the bed, being like lovey dovey, but it was like the cartoon version of the comic. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, whatever." She liked it. And she's like, "This is my favorite art, my favorite book." And then he proceeds to crap on not only the book but also her. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, both of those were uncalled for because even if you're gonna crap on a book, at least give some criticism, really, man. Because the art looks good, and who knows what the story will like because you're probably not reading it, so and I was like, and he used to not be like that. He used to be someone who's like, oh yeah, people can have their own opinions. But all of a sudden, he's changed. And I'm like, dude, man. Like, I already had some issues with what some things I didn't agree with you on, but at the same time, you're cool. So let bygones be bygones. That's fine. Like, everyone's not gonna have different.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's gonna have different opinions. But as time went on, he changed slowly, and then that one was the breaking point where I'm like, I'm unfollowing you and meeting you, man. That's not cool. Especially when she
That's
wasn't
just
being mean or anything or saying this is like the best comic ever. It's every other comic sucks type of situation. No, she was just saying, "Oh, I like this." And I was like, "Dude,
man. Nah, cause like I got a homie who's like really, even though we don't always agree on a lot of things, he still has enough sense to admit that he's like either wrong or just like, like, hey, you know, I still like this character despite you not liking it. And, it's blase blase. That's cool. But then I had like this other mutual of mine from my old account, and at first he seemed cool, but then it's like as I got to like know him and him kind of just like being on the whole pro comics gate, pro anti SJW thing, all that stuff. I really tried to just find the good in him or understand where he's coming from. It reached a breaking point when we had with that whole and I don't mean to get political here. When we had that whole Capitol riot thing
hmm,
like 2 years ago
yeah."
or like a year ago and everything, and that went crazy. And he went off saying like, oh man, they should have done more with that. I was like, you know what? Nah, nah, I'm good on this because it's like, and I feel like that's the thing. We can always disagree with a lot of people or have different, but we kind of have to like recognize when people are genuine dicks or just terrible people.
Yeah,
Like, and it's like we just gotta let them go, whether it be muting them, blocking them, etc. Just not wanting to associate with them at all. Because there's
that's
nothing wrong with that.
it's like I
It's
want
like
my
that with
feed
people
to
in real life.
be better. I want my feed to be clear of stuff. And yeah, there's other people I haven't unfollowed because I mean unfollow or muted because I'm just like I still like you to a degree. I still think you're fine, and you can still make some good points and some good art.
Mm-hmm.
Just sometimes it's just other stuff I just hope I don't see.
I assure you, the most you'll see from me is probably just like weird cartoon hot takes and moms.
I mean, I actually watched your Doug video, and I was like, "What the?" That was just like, Doug's not that bad. I mean, Arnold's better, but
No, yeah, no, no, Arnold's great, but like,
I think I would
here's
have
the
to
thing.
go through like a complete like re-season watch of Hey Arnold, not Hey Arnold, of Doug to see how I feel.
I assure you, like, here's the thing. Doug is not that bad. Like him as a character is kind of meh, Like show itself is just not bad though. I was just racist looking ass, but yeah.
Oh man, that was. I like that video. I like your videos are good.
Thanks, man.
But oh man, what was an? I'm trying to think of another incident with culture war stuff. Have you kind of this might more relate to back to like, man, we keep relating back to comics, and that's a different podcast I want to do later. But there
It,
was,
I mean, it is the number one thing for these culture wars these days. So you know.
but this relates to I've even you've had experienced this. The whole like we talked about it earlier, like the whole like Japanese respect black people stuff like that, and
Mm,
but even then I'm like you got some of you guys don't even support this stuff, and it relates back to even like the people who are Westerners who don't even support the books that do have black people in it. Like I've talked about it before. There was the one Batman, like when that like there was one dude I follow. I think you follow him too, but he talked about how he wanted a black Batman, and then some people are like, well, there's Batwing. He's technically like the Batman of Africa, and then later on was replaced by a new black dude, and he's like that doesn't count. And then when they said, hey, we're making a Batman or a new Batman, and he's black, he's like, oh, cool.
mhm.
Never saw a single peep from him about when that came out.
Jesus.
And I'm like, man, you guys do this both to Eastern stuff that when they have pretty good black characters, and to Western stuff when they have at least a new take on a character,
Hmm.
or at least the idea and mantle of the character.
Man, it's just like I said. Everybody complains about this stuff of lack of original black heroes, but never want to actually support those original black heroes they said they want so badly. And I know people always want to like make the excuse like, oh, I shouldn't go out looking for like for looking for this stuff. I shouldn't waste my time doing that. That is some old bullshit because it's like, bro, that's like saying I shouldn't go out looking for a job because I want money. Like, bro, you got to look for this shit to find what you're looking for. Like, come on, man.
It's not that hard to
Like,
ask recommendations, like go on Reddit, ask people on Twitter, like there's so many websites you can go to ask people, and there are people who will give you genuine, real information.
mhm.
Because like it just doesn't make sense to me when people do that. It's like no, go here, go there. It's just it's not that hard. It's like people make it difficult.
It's just I don't know. I don't know. Like, I just want it to finally be where it's like we stop saying there's no original black heroes and just like, hey, embrace these heroes that we have because there's a bunch of them. We can still appreciate like the quote unquote hand me downs if they're written well. Like, look at Miles. He started off as somewhat of a blank slate to just ended up becoming like one of the most iconic Spider-Men there is.
This is the
So,
point where people want him now into live action stuff.
exactly. So it's like there's a market for these heroes if they're done well. And not just like race swaps or just like, a bunch of like, just like downgraded versions of them. It's like you can have both. There's so much greatness and like, some good writing when people are talking.
It's not hard.
Just
Right.
exactly. Just give them a shot. And also look at us and look for stuff outside of like DC and Marvel or just superhero genre in general. Like that's the thing. Comics is a medium. There is a bunch of shit you got going on. It's literally in the same boat as, manga, where it's like there's other stories, there's different things. You don't just go to manga and just look at shonen. You got to check out the seinen, the drama, the romance, all that stuff. There's multiple comics just like that as well.
Even then,
And
shonen, like people are even lazy about the shonen one.
exactly.
Because I
See what
talked
I
about
mean?
that the other day, where I was like, I'm really annoyed by people who complain about shonen, but they're complaining about the mainstream ones and not actually talking about real shonen. Like not real shonen, but like they use the term shonen in the way of thinking Dragon Ball, My Hero, Demon Slayer. When I'm like, there are shonens like Promise Neverland, which I didn't know was shonen. Like the two manga, like use I'm always careful. Hate trying to say the words, but Yuzuka wants to hang out
Yeah,
is a
Sasha.
shonen,
Yeah.
Nagatoro is a shonen,
Yup.
but they think Shonen Jump, so they think, oh, that's shonen. But no, there's a
Exactly.
lot. Shonen is a genre, and there's subgenres within shonen, but altogether, shonen's not like a stereotypical like everything's this. It's like shonen is pretty much books that are made for teenagers and young, like pretty much young boys, and like kind of, and I'm in a balance between young adults too. Like this isn't what you think it is. This also the books aren't just the same thing over and over again.
Exactly. Like, listen, I for some reason still read One Punch Man, and it's like that shonen. That is very shonen. But like people won't notice that because it's just a story about a bald 25-year-old superhero who's just overpowered as shit. And they don't see that. They don't think about that. So it's like, yeah, it's a lot of it's a lot of stories that go into shonen, but people just aren't willing to give it a shot because they keep looking at the big three or Demon Slayer or One Piece.
They kind of just stereotype in a weird way, and like
Exactly.
and
Once
like it's
again, I was just gonna say once again, kind of stereotyping a lot of the stuff and acting like they know everything when it's like not really. Bro.
and that's funny because that's when I realized both manga and comics are real stereotyping that way, where it's like, oh, shonen is kind of all the same, or in the sense of comics, they always kind of treat it as Marvel and DC is all the same, and like SJW, or sometimes they believe the fact that the comic industry in general is SJW, and I'm like, no, there's some shitty indie comics and shitty comics, but not every single comic's that.
Exactly. Like, yes, I took this picture out of context. Look at how woke Marvel is. It's all like this, guys. I swear. I'm totally factually right.
I have sing the praises of the book Radiant in Black on my feet so much because I'm like, read this, pick this up. This is a good book. I have
Hmm.
like it's a comic that made me tear up at one point, and I say, read this book. This is a good ass book. If you like Sentai and Common, read this book. And I only see one or two people I know who actually read it, and I'm just like, guys, go out there and read it. Especially when you say there's no good comics anymore. This is a pretty badass comic. If you don't want to read Marvel and DC, there's IDW, there's Boom, there's Dark Horse. There's so many other studios, and even indie ones.
Yup.
But even then, somehow Common America is like the one thing a lot of people agree on, and I'm like, I'm really confused by that. But at the same time, it's like if it's good, it's good.
No, yeah, I feel that. And sometimes, okay, how about this? Sometimes, and I hate this. This is like the one bad trait about me that I'm always hate is the fact that I do sometimes fall under the category of I don't like popular thing because it's popular. And it's mostly and it's not only because it's like it's not because I don't hate it or anything. It just sometimes I just look at it and it just does not seem like it's for me. Like I looked at Demon Slayer. I've watched the anime and I've read like volume 1 of the manga and all I can really say is I get it but I just don't really see it much for my taste because I'm a weird guy. Like I said, I got weird taste,
Yeah,
so it's like I'm very, I very much try to just like not give it the whole like, oh, it's bad, it's popular. That's why I just say it's just not for me, you
yeah.
know. So it's like even after you like probably read like comment or whether you like, even if you could say like, it's just not for me, you just like watch it or something like that or read it, and most you could say it's just not for you because it's like a lot of this stuff is subjective and it's why I can't really like per se say it's like, oh, it's bad. These designs bad. These characters bad. They're not bad. They're just I feel like I've seen this before and maybe I'm just kind of like past all that.
That's why I always say, in my
So,
opinion, when it comes to things I say, because I'm like, I want people to know this is my opinion. This is how I feel. If you feel
hmm
differently, that's fine. But I want you to know this is how I personally feel about what I played or what I'm reading or like this character. Because it's not hard.
exactly.
Because I know one person I follow didn't like Jujutsu Kaisen because but it was the main reason is because they said they hated it because of how popular it was and they're seeing on the feed constantly. And I'm like, that's not a good reason to criticize or hate a show, man.
Exactly. Like I never want to judge things based on that. Cuz like how I like Jujutsu Kaisen. I think it's really interesting.
Like I
Yeah,
started
but
that
it's
with the
like,
manga, and I was just like, oh man, this is. And I knew, and I'm happy it got hyped to the anime because that's when I got more fan art. So it's like good for me.
hell yeah, because man, just the most you can do with this stuff is like at least give it a shot, even if you don't like it. Just again, don't be a dick and say like, oh, it's just bad, guys. It's bad. It's garbage. It's just ass. Like, it's just my opinion, though, bro. So you know.
Yeah, man. It's like gotta give it at least a chance. At least if
Exactly.
you're gonna do something, look up clips and stuff like that. At least,
Oh yeah.
like even if you're not gonna watch the full series, at least at least when it came to my opinions on like some He-Man stuff that's happened, I
Mm-hmm.
can understand why people don't like it, and I can agree with some points because of the clips, like full clips I've seen and some of the decisions that were made. And I'm like,
Oh
no,
yeah.
yeah, I get it. I don't even want to watch it because of some of the stuff I found. And I'm like, no, I get it. If people like
Exactly.
it, I don't get it, but that's fine. They dig it.
And this is what it is.
It's like how with Steven Universe and what happened with that. I'm like, God damn it. But at the same time, like, you can dig it. If you like it, that's fine. I'm gonna say I don't like it. Gonna have to respect my opinion. Especially
Man,
with
that's
that
fine.
especially with that ending where he forgives Hitler, but it's just my opinion, whatever, man. God damn, that's like a whole can of worms. Just like God, and like same thing with. Oh man, there's so many topics to go into one day. They're like separate ones. Like Steven Universe is a whole can ass of worms.
Steven Universe, how it fumbled the bag. So unfortunately, this is what happens when when like the people you work for kind of just double down on you. So yeah,
And also, some of the choices you made were not the best, especially when it
exactly.
came to characters. That's a whole decision that's a whole podcast for another day because I have words to say.
Yes, sir.
Especially when you take in some of those early episodes. If you watch them again, you're like, wait a minute. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna make one tangent real quick about it.
Go on.
It was the episode that really started bringing me more into like, wait, something's not right here with this show. Because I went back and listened to someone talk about the one episode of when Lars and Sadie and Steven were on the island,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end, Lars got mad, and it was like, no, it's fair. He has every right to be mad at you because you tricked him, and he thought he was gonna die on this island.
Yep.
And then Sadie saves him, but she comes off as very mean to him. It's like, oh, you, and she's like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, wait, Sadie, you could have. Lars freaked out because he thought he was gonna die because of
Mm-hmm.
you. Don't act bad now.
Exactly.
And I'm
It's
like, I
like
didn't
I'll
think
be
about that until I got older and listened to someone talk about that and rewatched it. I was like, oh no, they're right. That's
oh
messed up.
yeah.
And they tried making Lars a
Yeah,
bad guy at the end, and I'm like, no, Lars isn't a bad guy.
exactly. Lars is a dick, but then again, he's a teenager, so that goes without saying. In
It,
that situation, he was in the right. He had every right to feel the way he felt. So yeah.
All right, that's the end of my tangent. That's a podcast for another day, another year.
But yeah.
But when it comes to like just all this culture war stuff, it's just so tiring. It's just when is it gonna be over? And I know it's
We
never
got
gonna
a
be
long
over.
way to go.
It's one of those wars that I think it's never gonna be over. At most it's gonna be silent at probably one point. Like it's still gonna be happening in the background, but people have chilled out. And
Pretty
then
much.
something's gonna happen. It'll just kick off in another big few years of it.
No, yeah. And like I said, this whole thing insane, and the fact that it's been for as long as it did, like you said, the worst thing that will happen is like it'll quiet down, or even like if we're lucky, it'll get to the point where it's like a lot of these channels finally come to the realization, huh, I'm not making money anymore. I'm not getting views anymore. Why is that? Because you do the same shit every year, every day, every hour a day, because like you just have the same garbage hot take. You're not even adding nuance to it. You're just saying the same thing you did in the last video before that, and before that,
Like that's
and
why. Oh, sorry.
doesn't track. I was just gonna say like it just doesn't track views anymore. So I hope it gets to that point. just like they realize, hey, maybe I need to just try something different, because every time I look at like the Quarterings videos, I always get whiplash, because this whole channel's a guy who just wanted to talk about crane machines.
Well, I mean, look at people like Clownfish, who I think have made many videos of saying the comic industry is dying, and I'm like, I look at like that meme of the one guy from Pop Fiction who looks around, just like, it's not dead.
Where
It's still here.
it's like, damn, my local comic book shop is still wide open and everything like that. And I actually had to tell a friend that too, because he has like ideas for his comic and everything, and he like, guys, like, bro, the comic industry is dying. It's all full of SJWs. And I'm just like, bro, listen, it's not that. There are actual problems going on with like promotion, money, and how they actually pay the artists and writers and all that stuff. But SJWs is the least of your problems
Like,
when it comes to that stuff.
they're there, but they're not as many as you think there are. It's
And yeah,
and like even then, the one time there's only been one time where it was. I think it was the one day on Twitter where everyone united to make fun of what Marvel did, and that was the New Warriors they were doing. That was the one day Twitter all united to be like, "What the fuck is this?"
yo,
Every wars they did that. It stopped. We're on pause that day. It was like that war that paused for Christmas. Everyone was like, "What is this, Marvel? What are these snowflake and safe face? Are you serious right now?"
it was so on the bad.
That's what I mean. It's you can think you're being progressive, but if it's on the nose, it's not being good. It's like no, it got canceled, and
Hmm.
everyone's like, "Oh, that book 100% got canceled, didn't it?" Because it was. Here's the thing: if it was like not everyone got mad about it, it would have probably came out.
Hmm.
But the fact everyone got mad about it, that's when they realized, okay, they couldn't. This is one of the times where they could even use the excuse of, well, no, it's just these anti-SJW people who don't like it. It's not the people who are giving us real criticism who don't like it. No, that was a time where everyone was like, no, this is bad. They were like, okay, let's just put this in the shelf. Sorry, artists who've drawn, but we can't take this out because we're not gonna get any money for this.
Exactly, and that's just what it is.
The funny thing is they would have
That
gotten money because there's people who hate buy comics.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of y'all do that with the hate watch and hate buy, or if you're just that one nigga who just like buys comics and then just rips them up afterwards. Like, yeah, please don't do that. That's not doing the damage you think it's doing.
They're actually wasting your own money, in all honesty.
It's the Nike situation all over again.
It's like the guy who like I saw buy a fairy tale book and then just burn it. And I'm like, what was the point
Oh
of that guy?
yeah, oh yeah, that I saw that, and then I saw like people do that with like Attack on Titan mangas and everything. I was like, um, okay, guys,
I think they were doing that
uh,
because of the whole like Nazi allegory, but but even then the Nazi allegory was obvious. No, these people are bad.
just I don't know. It's one of the reasons I just don't believe in. Well, I shouldn't, anyways. Like book burnings, they don't hate. Well, hate buying. I mean, and like it's not gonna do what you think it is, guys. So please just chill with that. Like, if you don't like something, that's cool. Don't don't promote it. don't don't give it the money you think is. It's like being against Disney and then like buying every Disney movie in existence and just tossing them in the trash, or like those weird Snyder cultists who just randomly bought everything that was in Snyder edition and then just burn them or break the DVDs or something.
Oh,
Like they bought them with their money and did shit like that.
actually, you brought up Snyder Codes. I have another tangent. The
Go
I
on.
don't think I don't think we were mutuals at the time when this happened, or we might have been.
Uh-huh.
It was during when it was after Snyder Cut came out, and I remember being like, me and my friend both didn't like that movie. I'm more adamant I really didn't like that movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember someone was talking about Dark Side, and I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't like this Dark Side. He seems like a bitch. I said it nicer though, but I just didn't care for it. And this one dude got
Right.
really mad at me. He's saying, "Oh, you're wrong," blah blah blah, and I'm like, "Dude, who cares?" And our discussion wasn't really long, but it led quickly to him sending quote retweeting my comment and turning it and saying and showing a picture of a monkey.
Huh?
And I'm like, dude, this is I quote retweet that too. I'm like, dude, this is pretty racist. He's like, what do you
Racially
mean?
motivated,
He's
bro?
like, what do you mean? No, it's not. And I'm like, dude, that's pretty racist. And then other people who mutually follow me, and if I'm correct, a lot of them were black too, were like, no, dude, that's pretty racist right there. He quickly deleted it. And then I think he also blocked me afterwards too.
Gee, I wonder why.
I remember I sent that to my friend and he just died inside. He was just laughing.
Oh my
Cause
gosh,
I
like,
sent the whole tweet to him, so he was just like, "Oh my god."
bro, like, but man, I don't like this. I don't like the Snyder Cut myself, or at least just don't like it as much as everybody else wants to hype it up to be. But like, y'all don't gotta go on like this crazy tangent over this, man. It actually kind of reminds me of when Zack Snyder was like doing an interview. And okay, for context, when I don't know if you know about this guy, Geeks and Gamers. He's also one of those like grifters,
I
anti
think I've heard of
community.
him.
Oh yeah, like he was out here praising Snyder, saying he is the greatest. He doesn't do this woke shit. He is amazing. He is incredible. And then during like and everything, off the cuff, he like Zack Snyder said himself like, well, actually, I don't really associate with those people or anything like that. I don't really think they're great at all from what I've seen. And then it's like Geeks and Gamers he as pretty much like Geeks and Gamers just took that personally, and he's just like, "This man mocked me," and I'm like, "Yeah, no shit."
Well, yeah, you're making his community. You're making the people who he probably knows in the community who aren't crazy look bad.
Like very bad, bro.
And surprisingly, it's not that hard because Jesus Christ, I have barely met one who isn't a sellout or like a bad person.
It's like I got one friend who's like real, but even he can admit that yeah, Zack Snyder is not the best when it comes to things.
Yeah,
But like he still likes like the Snyder Cut Justice League. He's a good home,
yeah.
but it's like everybody else I've met. Now I don't know about that one, Chief.
Oh, wait. God damn it! I lost the thought again. Because I had it. I finally had it again. I was like, oh, now I remember the topic I was gonna say to you, and then it went away real quick.
Damn.
It was just like I got it, and then it just erased immediately like a freaking Thanos snap. And I was just like,
Bro, I
oh well,
hate it
there it
when it
goes.
happens.
Because it was relating back to Culture War, and I can't remember now. It was another controversy that happened, and I remember it. I know. When this is over, I'm gonna remember, and I'm like, God damn it.
Right.
Because it was something I wanted to talk to you about. Now I can't remember.
Was it like East versus West,
Yeah,
comic related?
yeah. It was.
It
You
was
know
East
what?
versus West, right?
It'll come back to me eventually. But it was. I know another thing we can say. Remember when, like, which way Western Man was a thing for a little
Oh
bit.
my god, bro, that shit feels ancient now.
Yeah, people got rid of it real quick when people started fight. When even other people started fighting back, and they're like, okay, we need to stop.
Oh my god.
Like when they started comparing things that weren't necessarily shouldn't be compared.
It
It,
was so weird.
like I remember when someone did the Bulma picture of like Bulma in the bunny suit and then Oolong pretending to be Bulma in the bunny suit. It was like which
Yeah.
way Western man West, and if it was like how Western artists draws female characters, how Japanese artists draw female characters. Even though I'm like, have you really seen some Japanese art draw some female characters? Because some of them are drawing characters like that. I don't know what you mean, sir. But I remember people came for that man's throat with that one because they're like, "Are you shitting on short stacks, motherfucker? Are you shitting on short stacks right now?" And he's like,
Shit,
"No,
I've been
wait." He's like, "Wait, no, wait."
it's like, wait, it's not what it's supposed to be.
Oh no, I jumped in
Oh
on that because like, "Are you making fun of short women, my dude? I like short women, man."
no, yeah, no, I was in on that shit too because I remember that I was literally saying like I don't know, man. Short stack bumper kind of hit different. But I just like I just like remember. I'm pretty sure that was like the peak time when they did that. I remember I saw a recent one where it was just like one was like saying like East versus Western artists, and they just had like Bulma be like short, dark skin, and trans and all that stuff. And I'm just like, I have very mixed feelings.
I
I
I
got very mixed feelings on this.
I remember it now. It was Neil Druckmann. It was Neil Druckmann stuff. It was when The Last of Us 2 was coming
Oh,
out. I remember now. It came
yeah,
back.
that was the one.
It was I call him Neil Druckmann though because Jesus Christ, how much he wants Anita Sarkeesian, and I'm like, dude, she's not gonna get with
Ooh.
you, man. But it was when he talked about Japanese games, and my honest opinion, way he talked about it, I'm like, I look at him like either this is from ignorance or it might be a little bit racism from how he treat Japanese games. Because he was like,
Mm-hmm.
look at Bayonetta, sexism right here, man. This is sexualized. I'm like, that's Bayonetta's whole fucking character. And she's really popular with everyone.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
like
she was
everybody.
created by a woman, mind you, at that too.
Exactly.
And yeah, the quiet thing, even people who like MGS got mad at that, and it really wasn't for the design itself. It was more just for the reasoning of it. It was just like everyone's like, "Dude, you just horny on main, just say it."
Oh my god, it's
Because
just
people who are into MGS lore is why they didn't like quiet design because it's the whole "oh she breathes through your skin" kind of thing, and it's like there's a character who breathes kind of like that, but he was fully clothed, so it's like what the fuck. I could be wrong about the like explanation, but they still compare two characters, and one of them was fully dressed, and the other one and Quiet wasn't, and the other character
oh yeah,
appeared before Quiet, so it was like, come on, guys. Everyone's just like,
no, yeah, no,
just be like Yoko Taro,
you
just
guys
be
are right.
horny on main, man. And
Oh
we,
yeah, and
hmm?
oh sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead with what you were saying.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, you actually are right about that because I Quiet and the other guy,
Okay,
I forgot his
you're
name.
gonna have to repeat some parts of that because you cut out really
Damn
bad that time.
it.
You said you're right about that, and then I cut back into Quiet, and I was just like, oh, okay, we missed a big
Sorry,
gap there.
sorry. Yeah, I was saying like you were right about the whole like quiet situation and that other guy. Yeah, that was a whole thing that did happen. It was like sometimes you just gotta be real, bro. It's like, oh, there's a purpose for this. Like, nah, bro, you just want to do sexy work. It's all okay. We don't judge.
Like you could Yoko Taro. He's straight up like, oh no, because I like women. And I'm like, I respect
Exactly.
that, and the good design too. So I 100% more respect that.
Exactly.
It's like I just like women. It was made the whole Neil Druckmann thing more annoying was the fact of the characters you were using are actually well liked and popular, not only because they're like sexy, but because of their personalities. The story they're involved in is why
Yup.
they're popular. Yeah, you're gonna get the guys who probably don't even care who they are. They just see sexy women and like it. But there are a lot of people who like them for the characters. So it feels weird to be
That
like, oh, this is bad.
like a good character can literally get you far. Like, okay, here's the thing. A hot looking character will get you, will probably get you like a few feet, will get you like a mile,
It's like the
and
starting
then a
line in
good
a way
character will get you
sometimes.
like even further. But yeah,
It's like the starting line sometimes become a hot character. If you make him hot, it's a starting line. But if you don't have a personality, you kind of just fall at the starting line. Everyone else is there running, but you just fell on your face.
yep.
It's like nothing's happening here, man. Like, anything else here? And what made that
Sorry.
controversy more funny is how it showed how hypocritical he was, how he was judging them for being like sex, like how they're dressed and stuff like that, how they act. And then he has like a
Mhm.
whole ass sex scene in his game, and I'm like, dude, dude, were you just complaining about what Japanese games do? And in my opinion, I haven't played a lot of Japanese games that have full on sex in it. Like most of those games are
Shit, me neither.
dedicated to actual like the type of games that even kids can't buy type games.
Yeah.
Like
So
if you look at JRPGs, if they're rated M, yeah, there's like Persona. They just say you stay a long night with this character, and you're like, I know what it means by a long night.
exactly.
So I don't know what he's talking about. I was just like, dude. Actually, he's the reason why I even started the podcast. Because my first ever video was top our favorite women in video games. Because I started it because of him.
Well, shit.
Because it made me so upset. It was just like, well, I shouldn't say upset, but just like annoyed and in like of ignorance. And I'm like, ugh. It's
Oh
like,
yeah, I feel that.
it's like, come on, man. You wouldn't have a job technically without the Japanese audience. Because guess
Exactly.
what? The Super Nintendo is where everything really kicked off.
Where it all started, fam. Come on.
It like it's just the whole idea of that. I was just like, come on, man. It's not like it's still so weird to be see people crap on Bayonetta. Where I'm like, you couldn't have played the game then, because
Bro, like,
Bayonetta's whole personality is a like definition of strong, independent woman. Because she's like, I know I'm hot, and I'm just gonna roll with it.
it's like she's a dominant, very strong, very confident woman, and I'm like, ah, yes, my type. Like the fact that she's sexy is just part of her. Is just part of her character. Like, there's a purpose for that. It's not just she's just hot to be hot. She has a whole ass thing going.
Like, there's so much more to
Like
her character than just that.
exactly.
And it really sucks how there are people who kind of do see that. Like, I do get at times, I do get the notion of, oh, Japanese, like, for some reason, I don't know why they usually, when people say that, like, oh, Japanese people don't care about women, when I'm like, they have a whole dedication of magical girls. I don't know what you mean they don't care about women right there. And yeah, I do agree of like certain times where I think sometimes the manga might not do well with women characters. Like I think
Oh yeah.
Kishimoto was terrible with it. I think even Toriyama is not great with it. But
No.
even then, I'm not gonna just say all of them, because if you look
Oh
at
yeah.
like more recent stuff, like I don't like when people try and say, oh, people's like Okacho and Sue are not interesting. I'm like, they do a lot of stuff in this series. I don't know what you mean by uninteresting. They might not be in every arc, but that's because they're not needed in every arc. Like you can't expect every like the whole class to be in every single arc. And like what's everyone
Exactly.
gonna do with this arc?
Oh yeah. And it also helps that, like, bro, a lot of great, popular, famous, like, manga and anime are created by women. Like, again, Sailor Moon, Full Metal Alchemist, fucking Demon Slayer. Come on now, bro.
Full Metal Alchemist blew my mind when I found that out. I was like, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it's like, a lot of them are good in the industry. It also it also kind of reminds me of like this one where like it was just showing a bunch of like people like talking about like how there's this many like women in like the manga industry who like done like great manga and everything, or just done manga and all that stuff. Like they showed the percentage,
Mm-hmm.
and then a lot of the replies were just nothing but misogyny, not even like criticism. Y'all were just straight up saying like women can't do manga and all that stuff, and I'm like, you have a Demon Slayer profile, bro. How do you not know?
I was just always more baffled by the people who like I'm baffled by them, but I'm also baffled by the people like I mentioned before, where they're just like, oh, there's not that many women in the industry, or there's not that many good leading manga females or anime, and I'm just like, no, they're out there. You just have to look for them. And sometimes you guys are looking for something you personally want, not like overall. It's like your personal beliefs type of thing, where it's like skewed
Yep,
beliefs too, where it's like, no, they need to be in every single scene, every single arc. I'm like, no, they don't. They really don't. It's
is that
if they're not like part, if like I get like the sentiment of yeah, they should be important, but at the same time, you shouldn't try and force it, because if you try and force it, they might not turn into a good character.
exactly?
Like character comes first, and if the story doesn't need this character or that character, then they don't have to be there.
Yup. And it's just like, yeah, like I get it. Sometimes some writers kind of could write certain characters better, female specifically, and like you said, they don't always need to be there. I guess for some of us, they just kind of want them to be a little bit more established, like everybody else, because, like, yeah, I get it. It's like that. It's one of the reasons why I'm very much like I love One Piece a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And for as long as it is, I will say Oda does know how to like write his female characters by having them be strong, effeminate, and kind of smarter than most of the men in like his series. I'm starting to notice that.
Oh yeah, Robin is
So
probably all accounts not tech wise, but probably the smartest person next to probably Janemba. But no, how you say his did I say his name
oh,
right?
Jinbei.
Jinbei. I don't know. I just said Janemba for Jaguar. Jinbei. But yeah, he's the next smartest. Like, probably the second smartest, and then probably Frankie after that.
Oh yeah.
Actually, no,
Yeah,
I'll
man,
put
Frankie
Frankie.
acts like a dumbass.
Actually, then again, maybe I put Frankie before that because he's a cyborg. He built himself back up from the ground, so I think that gets more credit for that one.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like when it comes to like even One Piece, he writes his character like even then his female characters are in every almost every arc, and if they're not, at least they
Exactly.
have focused on one of the other female characters for the arc. Like
Yeah.
Nami wasn't in one arc, so we had a lot more time to focus on Robin. And
Which she
then
needed.
Robin wasn't in one arc, and then Nami had a little bit more focus. And then
That's just what
recently, what Robin did in the manga, it's like that's an upgrade of an ability, and I don't know if that's an awakening or not.
it is. Nah, I feel you on that.
So if that's why I never understand when people crap on One Piece characters, where I'm like, have you have you actually seen I get the point of yes, Robin has not been in that many fights, and I wish she'd been in more fights. But half the times
Hmm.
when but most of the time during the arcs where there is fights, like when it came to like Enos Lobby, she was captured, so of course she was gonna be in a fight. And
Yep.
then after that, it was I can't remember what it's called. Not Enos Lobby, Thorough Bark. And in all honesty, I think there wasn't that many big fights. I know Usopp had one, Zoro had one, and Sanji had one to a degree. But even then, I feel like no one else really had one. Like Chopper didn't have one,
Oh yeah.
and Frankie joined the crew and he didn't have a single.
Damn.
So it's weird to say like that. And then of course Sabarago happened, and of course no one had a fight because everyone got beat in
Mhm.
that one. So it just feels weird when they say like, "Oh, they're not used." I'm like, they're used a lot, and Robin's probably the most integral character in the whole series because of the fact that without her, they probably won't be able to find One Piece.
Literally, like she can read all this stuff because oh yeah, she's literally like the last of those archaeologists because they all got massacred, including her mom.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you know recently I saw someone say Robin's mom's a bad mom and put it next to Shanks, and I'm like, what the? Robin's mom was gone for a long time for a reason. She didn't
Yeah.
leave because she was a pirate, and even then, I'm not sure how Shanks is a dad because I'm not sure what the movie's gonna lead to. But don't you dare put Shanks because don't forget Yasop's a thing.
Exactly. Like
Oh, bro
and that's
left his wife to die, and it
and it's
almost
like
feels like. Here's the thing: they say I'm gonna make a joke here, but they say Usopp's African. But when you think about the incident that happened with him, and I'm like, your dad went out for a pack of cigarettes and never came back.
oh my god. Yo, true. God Lord.
Oh, I was like, oh, yep, actually, that makes more sense now. Oh no, but
hey,
oh,
at least it's not like Golem's dad from Hunter x Hunter.
my couldn't go into that. It's a shit. It's really shit. He's just piece of shit in general. I don't care if he tried to be like, oh, I did all this for a reason. I'm like, no, f you, man. Your son actually was dying. You're like, no.
Man.
At that point, give up your whole thing. Be like, okay, my son's actually dying. I really should go look at him. I can't just not do that.
Jeez, bro.
And I'm like, dude, man, jeez.
Fuck this nigga Geen.
Like all of us, all my homies say gained.
Shit.
Oh man.
Making
Oh,
Goku look like Father of the Year right now.
that also when I brought up One Piece, that did unlock another memory in my head of when
Oh
the
yeah?
same person who did the whole like Spider-Man retweet to me. She apparently she mind you she wasn't either. I think she wasn't either watching One Piece at the time, and she didn't even have context for the scene. But it was the scene where where I keep calling Jim Nimba, Jimbei
Jinbei.
pretty much
Mm-hmm.
called out a guy for being, hey, you're being a little racist, the fish man. But I think it was more of a joke, but still, the guy kind of was. And she's like, I don't know what Jinbei's talking about for what they did to Nami and everything. And then people quickly called her out saying, hey, you do remember you do know what happened, right? What Jinbei said to Nami later on? She didn't know jack shit apparently.
Well, damn.
She didn't even apologize for the tweet. She kept that tweet up too.
Well,
And it was
I
funny
appreciate
other
you being honest.
and it was weird
Mm-mm.
because it was pretty much obviously, oh, this is the SJW nonsense because they thought it was a, oh, SJW translated this. And it's like,
Ugh.
actually, no, it wasn't. It was the official. It was like because someone else showed the official translation. It's like, oh no, this is just the same translation, just spoken a little, just worded a little differently.
Bro, I just, I swear, it kind of reminds me of like when Black Sage D was literally saying with his whole chest, guys, there is nothing, there is no type of political allegory in One Piece. Remember when Luffy said, shoot down the flag to the world government? That's crazy.
Oh, we're not gonna talk about like the literal group of people who have slaves and how slave auctions are a thing in the universe.
We're not going to talk about the elite class called the Celestial Dragons who just walk all over everybody and just shoot fishermen for fun. Yeah,
Just shoot anyone for fun. Who cares?
exactly.
We're not gonna talk about a group that's called the literal Revolutionary Army.
Like, bro, there's so much shit here. You're just ignoring all that. I'm just looking at the adventures and the fights. Ah, okay.
I mean, I look at the adventure in the fights, but I can see the themes going on here.
Exactly.
Even then, I wouldn't even say he's looking at the adventure in the fight. He's probably looking at the tits the whole time. The way
Exactly.
he acts, he's probably just mostly looking at the tits.
Goofy ass nigga.
Did I ever tell you like by one of my first negative interactions with him? Because this
What
also
was
still
it?
relates to the culture war stuff. Um,
Oh yeah.
he talked about Last of Us 2, not Last of Us 2, Last of Us 1. Because some guy
Yeah.
posted a scene of a giraffe. Because he's like, hey, this is my favorite scene in video games. Like, even then,
Uh-huh.
he said one of my favorite scenes in video games. And Black Sage D went all over that for some reason, saying, oh man, this guy probably didn't play other games. Like, like, he's probably only plays, like, mainstream Western games, stuff like that kind of thing.
Bro.
And dude, homeboy was straight up like, actually, no, I play some other games. He's like, well, you should play more Japanese games. Oh, here's a list of Japanese games I play. Oh no, they're all
Hmm.
mainstream. Oh well, no, okay. Here's some other. He's like, well, here's some other. Here's some of these games. You should play these. He's like, oh, I played some of those. The boy kept winning, in my opinion. Mind you,
Bro.
he got like jumped by Sage's cult, so he eventually broke, in the sense
Ugh.
of got mad. Because they messed with that man the rest of the day because of him.
Wow.
And even I called
Bro.
out Sage. I'm like, dude, there's nothing really wrong here. He even says one of his things, and he's like, I can't remember what he said before the next thing he said after my other comment to him, and he's just straight up
Hmm.
was like, oh, I just don't like people who like that game. And I'm
Bro.
like, and I know he's a proponent in the culture war nonsense, so
Yeah, pretty much. Cause like, it's it's just weird. Cause like, I remember he was actually like attacking my friends and everything, and like, and she was just minding her own business. She was really just like making like a comment and everything and all that stuff. And he's just like, I know not the furries are gonna attack, are gonna like comment on my shit. It's like she was just keeping it cool and defending herself, and then all my homies jumped in and like helped her out and all that stuff. And I couldn't do shit because that nigga blocked me. He blocked me twice. So it's like I can't remember what the argument was. All I just know that he hold up. Yeah, he was just not having a good time, and everybody just realized, huh, this guy's kind of a dick. Uh,
yeah, I remember when I remember like when that happened, no one really called him out for it, but it was when he did that mainstream anime nonsense. Is when I saw a lot of people I follow were like, "Oh, this dude again, he's an idiot." And I'm like, "Oh, wait, there's people who hate him. Oh, cool. I was scared to like say anything. Cool, I can join in on this."
Let's go. My people dogging on this nigga. Let's go.
Oh yeah, everyone dogged it in there. Yeah, like I said, him, Clownfish. What was the other guy? Hero. He you said,
Oh yeah, hero.
and
Hey, yeah.
Yellow Flash are proponents in the culture war stuff.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about Yellow Flash. That dude.
That dude has some problems. I mean, they all
I'll
have
never.
some issues in my opinion. And I know if they ever see this, they'll be like, yeah, I mean issues in the sense of you guys need to chill out type issues. Like, not
This is
everything
crazy.
has to be anti SJW or SJW stuff. Just why not once in a while just talk about stuff you like? Just
Some things just exist, y'all. Like you don't have to comment on everything.
like I get calling out stupid stuff, but I mean, come on, every single time though, it has to be like a pressure on your brain. It has to start giving you headaches.
And at that point, it's kind of just like now you're just sounding stupid, and it's like you're just getting mad at something for like I knew Yellow Flash was wilding the fuck out when I saw him just say like oh like Spider Punk, he's supposed to be Antifa and he's beating on this white guy. Yes, he's beating on this poor innocent white guy who just robbed a store, but okay. And like
Spider-Punk
he
was
tried to
made
claim it.
before that term even was like, I don't know, popularized. I'm not sure if that term was already existing, but Spider-Punk been out way before I even heard that term as a thing.
Yeah, no, because he was looking at one of like the newer comics at the time, and he just automatically just called it like SJW propaganda, and he shredded the comic that he bought. Bro, make it make sense.
And the
Ugh.
sad thing is, there's people who believe it because they're not gonna go out there and do it, look up themselves.
Exactly.
Okay, I think it's time to end it for now. Thank you for coming on, my guy.
I know, right? But nah, this was good, man. Trapping.
Yeah, anything you want to plug or anything like that?
Not really. I guess just hi, I'm Kang of Big Bro Toons. You can follow me on YouTube, and you can follow me as Big Bro 180 on my new Twitter. So yeah. Once again, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'll probably ask you to come back on at some other point, like, because I have some other ideas for stuff. Because I like you're fun to talk to on here.
Thank you. Same to you.
All right, I'll see you all later. Bye.
Peace.